Greetings and welcome to the What Did You Think podcast, episode
28.
28.
If we had one subscriber for every episode, we would have more subscribers than we do at the time of recording.
That is true. So here, I'm not going to explain what's going on. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on here. But if you also notice to the right of your screen, if you are watching on YouTube or on Spotify, I guess, you'll see that we have a friend of the podcast back here once again. You may know him from the Women Talking episode.
Yeah.
Well, now we're gonna have a franchise of mainly men that we're gonna be talking about. So, here is Eli.
Introduce yourself, Eli.
Word. My name's
All right.
my name's Eli. I'm not a fan of the podcast. I haven't seen one episode, but I love you guys. So I love Marvel. I'm very passionate in a lot of ways, so I'm excited for this episode.
Welcome, everyone and all. Episode 28. We have the guest we already talked about. We have the episode we already talked about. So now let's introduce this tier list. 55 Marvel Cinematic Universe installments. This includes every movie and every television show, all in canon. Now I know what you're thinking. What is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Luke Cage and Runaways and all that? This is not a time for debate on what is canon and what is not. We're running with official canon. You can debate it all you want. This is how it is. This is the truth. So that's what we're working with. We have our tiers. We don't have just the letters, but as you can see or hear as I'm explaining to you, all the words that they are start with the letter that they represent, except for the top one. So we have fart in F tier, crud in C tier. Maybe should C be crud or?
Yes.
Because C can still be okay, I guess.
Coolish. It could be coolish. Coola.
Okay. B is bussin'. A is amazing. And then for our top tier, we have marvelous, because of course we do. So you don't have to be confused what all the words mean. Just unless it's marvelous, that's top tier, because Marvel, everything else is the tier that the word starts with. So that's a good way to remember.
I gotta say, looking at this list, I'm pretty interested to see. I'll get out of the way that I haven't seen everything,
which is why Eli's here, because everything that Ben hasn't seen, me and Eli have. So
that's good.
Except for some of the Disney Plus stuff. I've seen everything on this list except for one thing, but I just had it on here for completion's sake. And then everything else.
Which one's that?
We'll get to it. But
my bad.
No, I mean that's fine. Yeah, what you'll notice is we are also missing the one-shots, comic books, and web series, if you know about those. There was enough already. Those are the least popular of all these things, so we decided not to mess with it. So without further ado, in release order, the MCU tier list, starting with Iron Man 1, the beginning of it all. I'm gonna let you guys talk this out real quick.
Is there like intro music here? Like
no. Dude, there'd be like, if we were doing that, there'd be 50 like
title card. Like
we're just talking.
Okay.
One take Andy's over here.
Yeah, Eli, start us off.
Iron Man 1. I mean, I don't really have a lot of opinions on it. It's a pretty solid movie. I mean, it kind of kicked off the entire franchise, as everyone on the planet knows. But I think this deserves. I'm just gonna go straight clean with it. I think this deserves Marvelous already. First Marvelous and first movie on the board, because it kind of set the scene for the rest of the entire franchise.
Okay. I'm not gonna put it Marvelous for me. I would put it in the bussin' category. Okay. I think Iron Man is good, but looking at it from a movie standpoint, I think it has some issues. Also, I don't really care for the villain at all in this. I think it's pretty forgettable, but I do think Robert Downey Jr. does a pretty good job at bringing, this character to life. He really is the embodiment of, when I think of Tony Stark now, I think of Robert Downey Jr. And when I see Robert Downey Jr., I really do think of just Tony Stark. So I'm gonna have him in the bussin' category. But
Well, which is why I think the perfect place for this is amazing, because Eli thinks it's marvelous, Ben thinks it's bussin', and I think it is amazing. I don't think it gets to the top tier of what the MCU becomes,
right, yeah,
but it's a wonderful foundation. It really ushered in the new wave of what superhero movies could be, and what it was able to do with such an unpopular character at the time. With I think everything of this movie, the CGI still holds up for the most part. The casting, legendary. People will be trying to get like casting as good as this forever. You really can't top it.
if
And
only it was Tom Cruise.
yeah, but honestly, I think this is amazing works for this place, because it sets the tone, it gets us started, but there are definitely times where the MCU overdoes this.
I agree with you. All right,
Moving on,
what's
we
this next
have
movie?
The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, I the only thing I remember from this movie is like with Mountain Dew and Edward Norton, both of which I don't think have ever been in an MCU movie after this. So
Yeah.
I I'm gonna put, like, honestly, probably Coolish, because it's not as bad as Fart, but this is definitely a Coolish movie.
Eli, what are you thinking?
I think if there was a lot, like if we could put it on a line, which I know we can't, it would be in between Fart and Coolish. I fell asleep 18 times. Real story watching this movie.
How do you wake up enough to fall asleep that many times?
Bro is a narcoleptic.
No, I think Coolish is fine. I don't think it's bad enough for Fart, but I kind of want to. I don't want to fart. I kind of want to put it in Fart.
I
But
think that there's worse movies that we can put in Fart that
Exactly.
actually make sense. Whereas,
Yeah.
like with Hulk, like the fact that I don't remember anything of it is like why it's in Coolish. Because if I remember bad stuff about it, only like some of these projects, I think that's why it's Fart. But no, I think this is a good Coolish movie.
Yeah. Just real quick, some statistics about what Eli just said. He would have had to fall asleep once every 6.2 minutes.
Or he stayed up for like the first 2 hours and just fell asleep
Yeah.
within like seconds.
That's kind of
I
how John Wick was for me.
did John Wick 4. It's just because he was so tired. All right, Coolish, I think works. I don't think Fart is a thing. And it is a thing. I just don't think it gets to that level. This movie sets up a good story for Hulk, which honestly, like, unfortunately, Hulk's story just gets absolutely trampled on because of some behind the scenes doo-doo fart like licensing issues. But this is a good starting point. I'm kind of glad Ed Norton got out of there, because I think Mark Ruffalo is a better Hulk. But this movie does get overhated. That being said, it's still in Coolish. Iron Man 2, unless Ben had a response.
I will say in the phase 1, we're going to be noticing like this, like Iron Man and the Hulk were the start of for the main villain to just be like the reverse of, or like a copycat of the main hero.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, I still don't remember who he fights in this one. I just remember him
Abomination.
throwing. I just remember him throwing a tank
Yeah.
really far.
He does look kind of bad. Abomination. And just as a character design, he's just kind of orange. I mean, he's just like a brown blob. That's why in
Right.
She-Hulk they change up his design. And I don't think anyone complained from a design standpoint.
Wait, really? I thought the Abomination from Incredible Hulk was better than in She-Hulk.
Oh, well,
I think
that's
it
why we
looked
got you on here, bro, for alternative viewpoints.
It looked like Doomsday expired-ish.
Yeah.
Well, Iron Man 2.
See, a lot of people have bad opinions about this one that I don't share, but I think Ben does. So let's hear them out.
With Iron Man 2, I remember liking a few things in this, like, because this is all I remember. Okay. I remember Whiplash, not the Miles Teller movie, but Whiplash, like with the electric whips during the race track scene. I thought that was like super cool.
It was super
And then I
cool.
remember him wanting a pet bird or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember I will say what I do enjoy about the Iron Man movies is the progression of his tech. So we see that with this Iron Man suit, it's like on the go. It's like still this giant thing he has to carry around and he like puts on. But we also get, I think we get a new Brody, don't we?
Yeah, this is where Don Cheadle comes in, if that's what you
Yeah.
mean. Rhodey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he does a very good job in this. I like him. I like Don Cheadle a lot. I think he's honestly really good in the MCU, like as a whole.
Yeah.
They haven't given him a shot to like ruin his character. So
Hey, we're getting an Arm Wars movie sometime soon. Who knows?
yeah. But for this, I'm gonna put it in coolish as well. I don't think it's complete fart.
Yeah. Should we put something in between fart and coolish, or is this good?
Yeah,
No,
that's fine.
You think so? You think we should?
Yeah.
I
think
think
we're
this
good.
is good how it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll leave it like that. Eli, Iron Man 2.
Honestly, I don't really remember it. I've seen it like a lot, and I just don't remember it. I've seen it like 8 times, and I remember it 0 of the times.
Yeah.
I remember that little suitcase that turned into a suit. That was pretty gnarly. I think
Yeah.
it does busting because of that suitcase, because that's so novel. But I mean, you can keep it in coolish. I'll digress.
Yeah, I think I might keep it in coolish as well. That's because, yeah, while there's the racetrack thing and while there's the suitcase thing, which happen right next to each other, it's not really all that memorable. And I don't know, it does have some cool fun facts, like it's technically the first appearance of Spider-Man, because
What?
the little kid that Iron Man saves at the Stark Expo was retconned to be Peter Parker.
What?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
It's funny though. And then Elon Musk is in this movie, which canonizes Elon Musk into the
That's
MCU.
right. For our character tier list, we're gonna have to have Elon.
Elon Musk. So yeah, I'm with coolish though, because there are cool moments, but it's not. I don't remember the movie for like anything but those few moments. You know. Thor.
All right. Who's talking about Thor?
I don't
Is
like
this
Thor.
is
This
this
is the
the one with
first
the
Thor.
dark elves?
That is Thor
So
2.
I'll say my 2 cents real quick about this.
Okay.
I think Thor is a boring movie.
Yeah.
And especially for these like movies being more geared towards like these kids and teens. I thought this was boring. Like everything with it. I enjoyed, like, even with Asgard, I haven't seen it in forever, but Asgard is very dull in this. And it's like, for something that's supposed to be very mystical and very like colorful and everything, it's just very boring and bland. I think Loki's character is the only interesting part about this, but I don't even know who the villain is of this. Isn't it like the big robot thing that like zaps stuff?
I mean, he's like a minion that's used by the ice giants and Loki.
I don't
But
know.
I mean, the fact that I
It's
can't remember if it was
yeah,
like the specific villain, yeah, that does
right.
lend me a
I just
point.
think it's a very bad villain. Everyone is all right in it. And I just don't even think that, like, I think this is easily the worst thing in phase 1, in my opinion.
True.
I would put this in fart.
Yeah, I
I
would.
I want to
Oh, you go
put
ahead.
something here. Isn't this the movie where he crashes and Mjolnir is surrounded by Shield?
Yeah,
Shield's cool. Does that
Shield
not
is
get
cool.
any cookie
Shield
points?
existing doesn't get me big boy points because
Because
Shield has
Hawkeye's also in this too.
Shield
But
has, yeah, this was the introduction of Hawkeye. Shield exists in all these movies to an extent. For the Incredible Hulk, Shield's involvement, you have to watch the Consultant one shot to understand how that links up. But Shield being there doesn't necessarily mean anything until after Winter Soldier. Because that's when connections to the TV show start. And no, that's when they matter. So anyway, Thor, I would also give it a fart just because that's Thor, the franchise, is the one that I come to the least. And it's just, they don't really, I love it conceptually, in that they took this, what thus far has been a grounded superhero show, and then they just go full on like mythical and like, fantasy, and then find a way to tie that into it. But as a movie itself, beyond just the premise, it doesn't really do anything for me.
Can I sneak one more argument in there for it?
Yeah.
You know how I just mentioned Shield building a
Yeah.
little base around Mjolnir. If this movie never happened, we would have never had Fortnite Season 4, The Meteor.
This movie did invent the concept of things falling out of the sky. You're correct.
That's exactly true, and that's why it should be in Marvelous.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna keep it in fart for now.
Okay,
One
okay.
thing that won't be in fart though is Captain America: The First Avenger.
Ooh.
For the longest time, dude, this movie was so cool when I was younger. And I still have those childhood memories of just like loving it and watching it nonstop. I will say it doesn't hold up to my childhood standards of like it's not as nonstop cool as I thought, but it is still fantastic. I would argue that this goes into amazing, but I'd love to hear your guys' points.
So I also really agree with you. I absolutely love this movie. And I think Captain America is one of those few franchises in the MCU that are like just they get better with each movie.
Yeah.
With the exception of like Civil War and Winter Soldier, because those are just, you know what I mean? You can make an argument for either one of those. But with the first Avenger, this also kind of breaks the mold of like getting more extraterrestrial with our villains. Like you could argue Abomination and like even Thor, but with this, it's like Red Skull is such a unique villain, and he's such like he's not overused at all. You can make an argument where he's underused in this whole series, and then he makes a few, comebacks. I don't even know what it's called, cameos, whatever. But this is the first movie that I distinctly remember the post credit scene though. And
Yeah.
the post credit scene of him running through New York and not remembering anything, but before that, the buildup of him realizing that like he's like been to this baseball game that he's listening to on the radio. It's like super cool. I love this movie. I'm gonna put it in amazing.
Eli?
This is the one where like it's okay. They don't go back in time. They're already back in time, right? He's old. He's
Mhm.
skinny dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, this goes in amazing. I'm pretty generous. You guys may learn this. I would say marvelous, but I'm gonna stick with the crowd and say amazing here. I don't know.
Yeah. Fun fact, I don't remember who told me this. It was either you or my dad. Jeremy Strong auditioned for the role of skinny Captain America.
Dude, oh my gosh. So
He either auditioned for it or he turned it down. But yeah.
that is
Avengers.
crazy.
The Avengers, also known in the UK as Avengers Assemble.
So I don't think there's anywhere else to put it but marvelous, in my opinion. I absolutely love the Avengers. It was like the biggest movie coming out, and it was like insane. I've said this story many times, but like just my dad and I getting super excited for this movie. Nothing like this has ever been made with multiple heroes in the same movie, and like this, the buildup was amazing, and the humor was really good in this. The fight scenes were incredible. The whole Battle of New York was just like top notch, and for such an amazing event, it really does affect every single like project. Like you have Daredevil shows mentioning it and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Avengers, even for what it does for the franchise, for how good it is as a movie, I'm going to put it in marvelous.
Eli?
I would agree. I also this is something to note. The CGI, the VFX, bombastic, man. They're best. So the VFX in this movie are better than some of the stuff after Endgame. Most of the stuff, all the stuff after Endgame. So yeah, I think it goes in marvelous.
It does really hold up via visual effects wise. I will say I've rewatched it recently, not like this year, but like, since Endgame and stuff like that. It there are some slower points that you don't really remember, I think. That doesn't take it out of Marvelous just because of how it managed to do what no one else had done up until that point, bringing all these characters together. Yeah, it still holds up incredibly well, even though there are some slow points that I think kind of get forgotten to time.
I will say too, the scene, there's a few scenes, but the scene that Loki like shreds the guy's face on the table,
Yeah.
like scarred me as a kid. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so dark. And then the scene where the big three meet for the first time, where they meet Thor for the first time,
So good.
is like such an amazing introduction to those characters. And like also just like the writing too. It's just like it's such a perfect movie that they obviously revisit in Endgame. And like if Avengers wasn't this good, it wouldn't hit as hard as like Endgame does when when they visit these scenes again, or they reference like all
Yeah.
this stuff too. Also, we actually get more of a character with Clint and Natasha. Well, not Clint as much because he is kind of like brainwashed for the full movie, but Natasha gets a actual like pretty major part in the
Right.
movie with her and
Since
Hulk.
saying hi in Iron Man 2 and not really doing much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Robert Downey Jr. flirts with, or Tony Stark flirts with her.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Tony Stark, Iron Man 3, the third Iron Man.
I say this
First
wasn't.
installment of phase 2, by the way. We are now
And
out of
Jenna
phase
Ortega's
1.
first appearance.
Yeah, maybe
And
not
only
last.
appearance.
There are
I don't
rumors
know.
she comes back as White Tiger, apparently.
Wait, is that actually a thing happening?
Rumors being either a lot of fan casts that get out of hand, or maybe like, I don't know. There are rumors about everything. So, but yeah, Eli, you had something to say about Iron Man 3.
I think it's buzzing because I don't think it's as bad, or not bad. I don't think it's to the level like on the list as Iron Man 2, but I don't think it's as good as Iron Man 1. That's a really simpleton way to think about it, but like I think
Oh,
it's
that makes sense.
effective.
Yeah, I will
I don't
say
really remember it very
for the
much.
longest time as a kid, I remember not liking Iron Man 3. I used to think it was actually bad. And then I rewatched it. A lot of times you're gonna hear me saying I rewatched it recently. This every time I say recently, that means post Endgame. I rewatched it recently and I actually liked it a lot. I think this has a lot of great stuff. We really get into Tony's character. We see how the events of the Avengers impact him. And we get to see Iron Man outside of the suit as a character for the first time since the first movie. And I think it's a wonderful deep dive into his feelings. What about you, Ben?
Right. Well, I don't remember like hardly anything from this movie. I'll tell you what I do remember. I know a guy that glows red. Pepper also glows red, question
Mm-hmm.
mark.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this like teenage kid helping him, or maybe he was a little kid. Um, and I also remember a bunch of Iron Man suits and like a scaffolding fight scene, and that's like all I remember. But I don't really care for this movie. I haven't seen it in forever. Uh so I'm sure it's good, but I'm gonna probably just take your guys' word for it just because like this is a very like unmemorable movie for it, and I can't remember like anything.
And
Yeah.
that dude like the Mandarin Orange dude, like, well, not
He
like
calls
Mandarin.
himself the Mandarin, but he's not. I'll say Bustin's a good place for it as well. I would recommend rewatching it though, Ben.
Yeah.
It's way better than I remembered. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So before we get into the discussion about this, the way TV shows are going to work is, since we didn't want this video to be 15 hours long, as much as I would love to dissect shows by season, we will have to talk about shows as a whole, which means for the people who've seen it, in this case me and Eli, we have to take the good with the bad and place it there accordingly.
I saw season 1.
Yeah, you saw the worst of them all.
Is that really the worst?
Yeah, you should keep going. You
Well,
really should. But yeah, Ben, what did you think of season 1? And then after that, me and Eli are going to take over.
so when I heard there was an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show coming out, this was after the death of Coulson. I was excited. And there's no Captain America in the show. There's no Iron Man. I was super disappointed. But obviously, like I was just young and didn't understand television or whatever. So if I had if I had to rank it off the first season, isn't like a character's name Ford or something like that?
Ward.
Ward.
Ford.
Ward was a pretty cool guy, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
put him in cool-ish. But I
Okay.
know, but you guys outrank me here. Like you
So
guys can,
yes, there
yeah.
are 7 seasons. This show lasted the longest out of all the Marvel television properties. I think I know where Eli's putting this. I know where I'm putting this, and that's definitely in Marvelous. But I'm gonna want to
Yeah.
hear Eli out. Yeah, this
Mhm.
show. If you don't
Easily.
watch any other Marvel TV show, watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because not only does it just grow the universe, it shows how the world at large reacts to the bombastic events we see in these movies. If you think that it stops being canon after season 5, I can point you to myself, which will explain to you why that's not the case. I will fight and I will die on the hill that is the canonicity of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. seasons 1 through 7. And this
Like
show is
this video if you want Cameron to make a series on why everything is canon.
If this video gets
I would love that.
a billion
honestly.
likes, I will do that. I would love to talk about it all.
Not even a billion. I
A
say
billion.
if this video gets 2 likes, not by Cameron or I.
How about let's say
Uh,
5? Let's go in the middle.
If it
Let's say
gets 5
5.
likes, Cameron has to make a series or just a video
I will
on
make a
why
video.
everything's canon.
I'll make a
canon.
video. Ben can be there, or he doesn't have to be.
I would love to be there because I need to learn this.
I'll make a video just lecturing. I'll make a PowerPoint, dude. Okay, get us to 5 likes. I'll do this. This show deserves the marvelous.
Right.
Give it a shot. I'll say this. Just a quick rundown. I'm not going to do this for everything. It starts at season 1 just okay. It increases in quality up until season 4, where it peaks, and then it dips down a little bit in 5 and 6, and then matches the quality of season 4 at the finale. So season 7 and season 4 are the best.
And while you're liking this, make sure you send this video and this podcast to everyone that you know by name.
Right. If you're watching on Spotify, you don't know how to like it, go on the YouTube and like it there, and then watch it entirely so we get the watch time.
Or
Thor: The
DM
Dark
me.
World.
No, wait.
Oh,
I kind of want to say.
yeah, Eli.
I
you
want to
gotta
say
talk.
anything about Shield.
Yeah, dude. No, just go ahead and say anything you want, bro. I forgot that you existed.
Yeah, I kind of picked up on that. Shield produces the longest running character and also the most physically beautiful character and also the best character in all of the MCU. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
His name is Philip P. Coulson. I don't know what his middle name is.
Coulson.
Jay Coulson. He is the most amazing character in this show. It's like you will watch this entire show, which is like 1 trillion hours worth of content, and you will never feel like you are wasting your time. What do you mean by that? It always feels like it's adding something to the universe. Because it always is. It makes Are we allowed to do spoiler stuff?
I would
Don't
I would ask
spoil
that
it.
you okay, in general, there is going to be a general spoiler alert for all of Marvel. I would ask specifically to Eli that you don't spoil Ben.
Okay.
But if you want to tell me afterwards, I can put in post on screen what you were going to say.
I can handle it. I'm just going to say this show makes not references but important story points to movies that didn't come till almost a decade after it, multiple times. And it's just that's why it's one of the most amazing shows, is because of the delayed gratification of it all.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Dude,
with
it's
one of
so
the
great.
most and with one of the arguably like most or just best things in the series, we have arguably one of the worst things in this whole franchise, and that is Thor, the Dark World.
Yeah.
No, I remember one thing from this movie. Oh, I remember two. Remember Natalie Portman getting stuck by the red goo thing in the rocks. And then I remember the lady on the subway pressing up against Thor's pec.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Man, I had always heard this movie was bad, but when I rewatched it post Endgame, man, it's really very lame. Like, it's not just dull, and like it's literally the set piece isn't even that exciting. It's just some portals open up, they're in a field. I think all the mass casualties are like some waves, because someone falls into a lake and then a car crashes or something crazy like that, or not crazy like that. It's very underwhelming. It follows in Thor 1's footsteps, and by that I mean tumbling down the stairs and into a pit of bad quality.
Now, can I point you guys out on something?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and put Thor Dark World by first Thor, because I feel like it's gonna be in fart. Comparing all these movies that are on the list already, like besides Hulk, why is Thor and Thor the Dark World the blandest posters? Why are they the like darkest? It's like, why do we have such a fun character?
Such a fun pocket of the universe.
And it's like the darkest and dullest thing that they have, obviously until Ragnarok. But like, this is that Thor needed a very good. Thor worked well in the Avengers movie. and was very funny in the Avengers movie. And I guess for some reason they thought, okay, well, Thor's not funny outside of a team-based setting, so let's put him back into old man shoes. I don't know what that really means.
I do love that arguably or almost inarguably at the time the least popular, least liked part of the universe becomes a very important plot point in Endgame. Eli.
Okay. I used to be very confused why this movie got such a passionate hatred for it, because I would watch it and it wasn't like the most groundbreaking thing in the world, but I didn't think it was that bad. And then like Cameron, I rewatched it recently, also known as the past year and a half. And I can kind of see why. I feel like if you don't think this movie is bad, you kind of have to agree that it's wasted potential.
Yeah.
They're working with the Aether, the Reality Stone in this movie, and you can like literally, I'm not using hyperbole here, do whatever you want with the Reality Stone. And they bid big red water, and it's just like really
I don't even remember that. Is that what they did?
Yeah.
Really? Like Thanos
also-
was able to like turn people to spaghetti and stuff.
Yeah,
Open some
exactly.
portals. I think Natalie Portman was like possessed for like 5 minutes. But yeah, it's mostly big red water. Yeah, so I think
it's like they had like, it's like if Thanos just wanted all of the stones but didn't know what to do after that. It's like his goal got completed very quickly and then was just like, oh shoot, I don't know where I go from here.
Like imagine if in Infinity War he got the Reality Stone and just went red water. That would be
Thankfully, Marvel got their ducks in the line, got everything back on track for the next movie, which is Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Captain America: Winter Soldier is widely considered to be one of the best like ever. This is definitely like a top 4 for me for sure, for at least like MCU projects or MCU movies. This is marvelous for me. I think we really start to expand Samuel L. Jackson's character, and like he's fantastic in this. Natasha is fantastic in this. Chris Evans as Captain America is great in this, and it even Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan is like such an interesting part in this, and we get the Falcon too that's introduced in this movie. It is like it's so perfect, and it's just like a solid heist like spy movie too.
Some of the best action in the whole universe, in the whole
yeah. This is also the Russo brothers directorial debut for MCU.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is just perfect. You got the elevator fight scene. I'm not trying to take all the talking points away, but like it's just like a perfect MCU movie.
Yeah. Eli?
I've never really shared it a lot, a steamingly, sweatingly hot take on this movie. Like everyone loves it. Everyone's like, it's the most marvelous marvelous. It's the most marvelous movie in the whole entire thing. And friend of the podcast and Ben's brother Isaac has like used to, especially back when it just came out, geeked over this movie and watched it like 28 times in a single sitting. And like I think this is all personal preference. I can agree that it's marvelous from an objective movie point of view, but if you're like from a preference, what I prefer to watch, I think it's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's a cool action movie. It doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah. Looking at it from an action movie lens, the set pieces in this are pretty phenomenal. Like Ben said, we got the elevator fight scene, which has been referenced to death at this point and is just incredible. We got the anytime with the Winter Soldiers on screen, you're going to see some great action there. And then even Nick Fury dips his toes in the action pool and is able to get some cool stuff in there. And even the story, like we get to really dive into Captain America's character, how he's living life after the 40s and, you know, coming back to the not coming back, but waking up in the modern day. I think this is marvelous. So me and Ben are gonna have to override Eli's opinion here, put it in
Right.
marvelous. And I'm not gonna rank everything. This is not part of my opinion of where it goes in the list, but this is the catalyst for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually becoming what makes it marvelous. As in this movie, S.H.I.E.L.D. falls to Hydra, and the way they deal with that on the show is what kicks it off into becoming amazing. I mean, marvelous.
Okay, Cameron. Okay.
I'm not going to do that for everything. Just like I won't do it for this Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm thinking we're about to have 2 marvelouses in a row.
I think we are too.
So let's start with Eli's opinion this time.
Yeah.
Little spoiler to forward in the podcast. I think all of the Guardians movies are going to be marvelous. I just
Don't
think
spoil Guardians 3. Do not, because that's
no. Like I just think they're all marvelous. I think there's very few flaws with them. I think they're so distinct from the rest of the Marvel movies, and obviously that's kind of the point. And they handle that very well. They keep that Marvel feel while literally being entire planets and galaxies away from.
it's
the
like
rest of
what Thor failed to do. It's
Yeah.
like you have this extraterrestrial space stuff, and Guardians, like, they take it in such a good lighthearted tone with also just, I mean, better writing in general too, because like the story is so much better. But like, you have fantastic characters, and even though we don't understand all of them completely within this, first movie, they're still so much fun to watch, and they all riff off of each other so well in this. And I think that you can just see the chemistry get better and better as like those movies go on. But I absolutely love Guardians, James Gunn's directorial debut for the MCU. And like, also unfortunately, Guardians, I feel like, also sparks the use of like the 80s music that's played in like several MCU projects after this.
Yeah.
Excluding Guardians.
This is a big thing too. This is kind of a Marvel thing in general, but I feel like Guardians stands out here. Before Marvel in general, superhero movies had a lot of trouble with superhero costumes. Like they straight up were like spandex goofballs.
That's true.
And I think Guardians is the most like, it's the easiest to mess up the costumes with because it's the most abstract, and I feel like they handled the costume design better than almost any movie in the entire franchise.
Right.
There's not much to add that they haven't already said, but I'm just going to triple down on the marvelous point and say that as great as the action and music and visual effects are, the fact that you're able to do all that and have just a heartfelt personal story in there, just to top it all off, is amazing. I keep saying that. I meant marvelous. It's marvelous. And yeah, they also were able to do what no one thought they could do, which is make the Guardians of the Galaxy popular and relevant in mainstream media. Eli, this looks like it's going to be another one for me and you because I don't know.
I saw one episode.
All right. Agent Carter, the television series.
Let me start it off since I've seen one episode.
All right.
There was a scene, I think they were at a bar and Howard Stark was there, and he punched some guy and knocked him out, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
That's all I remember from it.
Because of that bar knockout scene, I'm gonna have to agree with you and put it in marvelous. That's all I have to say about the show. I think this deserves to be either coolish or bussin'.
Yeah.
Because I'll try to figure out by the end of my point, but it's a fun show. It's very different. It tries to do what the first Captain America movie does, where it's literally in that time frame, and it's trying to be in the 50s, but while retaining that Marvel feel. But it kind of falls into just some like movie stereotypes of the time, like Howard Stark, like Ben just mentions in the show, and he's like, "Hey, Bucko, can I? Here's a quarter. Go buy yourself something pretty." It's just cringe, in my opinion.
Like, hey, we're in the 50s, eh?
Yeah, in the 50s of the World War II. Like, it's just corny. And then
can't believe those Nazis are doing that in Germany.
Yeah, it's terrible. And then they I feel like this is suffers from something that Agents of Shield didn't do. It suffers from feeling useless. Like it doesn't. It's just filler. It's just content for the sake of. Although it's entertaining, it doesn't add anything.
Um, I I have to disagree with the it being useless thing. I think, well, first of all, this is the real Black Widow, and that is the first female solo project led thing. Even though,
Go watch Women Talking for more of those.
yeah, I think this
More
is.
of those.
I think what this does is it just has like that kind of like fun episode thing. It's not really anything serious. It's not trying to be anything that it's not. But at that, because of that, it doesn't really get to that really great heights. It's just all right for me. So I am fine putting it in coolish.
I
or
agree,
bussin',
coolish.
but I think I'll go with coolish because I do forget about it a lot, even though it is unique. It's I feel like I should remember it more.
Actually,
Two fun facts.
we might have to put it in bussin' because some of the stuff that's going to be in fart absolutely reeks, and I don't know if I want that reek to go that close to the show.
Maybe, but I think, I mean, we could. All right, I'll put
Let's
it.
keep
No,
it. I say let's keep it in coolish
no, I think okay, fine. You know what?
for now. Just for
You've
now. Just
convinced
for
me.
now.
Two fun facts. One fun fact: one of the episodes in the show is a musical, and two fun fact. This one is a trivia question for Ben. Other than obviously Captain America, this show connects itself to one other movie in the franchise. Which one do you think that is?
I guess like the obvious answer is like Iron Man, but
Well, I mean,
I'm
technically
gonna
because Howard Stark, but
right, but I'm gonna say it's something like super insane, and I'm gonna say it's like Spider-Man.
it is Doctor Strange.
Oh,
It was actually part of the marketing for these were coming around the same time. They were like, hey, watch Agent Carter to see how Doctor Strange or something like that, see stuff about Doctor Strange. Speaking of Doctor Strange, we're not at Doctor Strange yet, but Doctor Strange works in a hospital, a fictional hospital. That hospital was introduced in Marvel's Daredevil, the
It's a
first
terrible,
of the.
terrible segue.
Well, I'm just saying it
was
showed
it the
up in
same
Daredevil.
hospital
It's
that
the same hospital
that she works at?
that she works at. Yes,
Um,
even down to the city and it's the same hospital.
that's awesome.
Marvel's
She was just not
Daredevil.
making nearly as much money as Stephen Strange was.
Well, she was a nurse. He was a doctor. I'll allow it.
It was like he was like he wasn't even a doctor. He was like he was a doctor, but he was like
a surgeon.
like
But yeah, Daredevil.
Marvelous.
Yeah, well, there's no debate here.
We could go make an entire episode about Daredevil.
Yeah.
So that's why we have a very special 5-hour episode for you guys today. No, honestly, Daredevil is perfect down to the last minute detail. And that's really all I got to say. I mean, you got amazing characters, amazing story, incredible fight scenes, the first TV MA project for the MCU.
Yeah.
And it's just like really, honestly, Marvel shot themselves in the foot by having this be the first Netflix show that they made, because
None of them live up to it.
they do not compare. So
Yeah.
I think that when it comes to the MCU, a lot of the content is really good on the back of other movies and shows. But if let's take
I
Sally over here.
disagree with that.
No, I'm just being general. Let's take Sally over here and show her Infinity War, a movie that's got a phenomenal, but she's not going to know what's going on. It has to be on the back of a bunch of other movies. Daredevil on its own is like top 3 shows for me.
Yeah, but how old is Sally? Like, if we're showing her Daredevil, it might like freak her out.
I don't know.
Yeah. Daredevil, man, it is just fantastic. Just there's no short thing you can say to really explain how great this show is. The only downside is that in between seasons 2 and 3, you have to watch The Defenders.
Yeah.
Which is why it's difficult, because like Eli said, it does stand alone up until that point. And if
Forgot
it
about
stood
that.
alone, on it entirely, then it would be an easy recommendation to anyone, regardless of if they like superhero stuff, because it is the boots on the ground. Those superheroes exist in that world, but they're not coming in to help Daredevil. He's got to figure it out on his own.
Right. And I mean, I do a really good cosplay as him too. So,
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that for just any amazing
which
character.
is on the screen right now.
Put it on the screen, right?
We're not
right
doing the
here.
pointy thing again from
Oh,
the early episode, but
there.
yeah. Okay. Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Oof.
This one gets a lot of hate.
It does. Hate that I disagree
And
with.
I was about to say I used to be a part of the hate wagon for this. And let me paint you guys a little story. Quick one though. I'm very fortunate to be born in May. I guess something about we might have to edit this out, but I guess something about September in 2001 really made my parents anyways.
Is that legal? Can you say that?
So anyways, but we have like used to every single Marvel movie comes out on like May 4th, May 3rd, May 2nd, May 1st. And I distinctly remember Avengers Age of Ultron came out May 1st, the day after we get back from a school convention that was in Illinois. And we get back and it's like I'm super tired because I was like staying up this whole week and it's like 11 p.m. and we got showings opening night Avengers Age of Ultron, and I fell asleep at the final fight scene. And I was so frustrated about it. And for that reason, I've always had resentment against this movie. And then Isaac convinced me to watch it again. And I really do enjoy it. It's really good. Say what you want about like Scarlet Witch magically losing her accent like in between the movies that she's in. But it sets up some just solid stuff. Ultron's really good. I really think I like his motives. I mean, I don't like his motives, but like he's a good villain, I think. And I think Quicksilver is solid in this too.
Yeah.
And sorry, I was gonna say the scene of Captain America trying to lift up the shield, or I mean the hammer, bro. So cool, so much fun.
Yeah, I really don't understand the hate for this. I just think this was the first MCU movie that I watched in theaters. And I've kept that streak going ever since, except for Ant-Man and the Wasp for some reason. We just didn't get around to seeing it in theaters. But
that was like a month after Infinity War or something like that.
But Age of Ultron, I think it's still really good. Now being the worst movie in the Avengers series isn't a great, like, I mean, you have tough competition,
Right.
So okay, I will say that I think this is the only Avengers movie we're not going to see in the Marvelous category, but that's just a guess. I don't know if I would put this in like amazing or bussin', but no lower than that.
I think this easily makes amazing. If anything, I think it should go in marvelous. I think that this movie, okay, here we go. Here goes why I disagree with you. I enjoyed this movie more than the first Avengers.
Yeah.
I just think
you are Cameron's little brother.
I think it has a better villain.
Yeah, Age of Ultron, like James Spader Ultron is pretty great.
You think he's better than Loki though in Avengers?
Yes, easily. As a character, that's a different question.
Okay,
but
I will say you're one to say that, like, bro, this is really good because this sets up blah blah blah. Loki from Avengers sets up his own TV show, dude.
I agree. Okay, yes, from a character perspective, Loki has
how many TV
arc.
shows does Ultron have? What if is not his show? What if
how many TV shows does Loki specifically from Avengers have? 0. It's a different universe. It's a different universe.
It's the same Loki.
Nope.
No, it's the same Loki.
Nope.
It's a variant.
Bro, okay, don't be stupid, Cameron.
Sorry, I have to defend my baby Bodo.
No, listen.
But it is Avengers Loki though. No, it is Avengers Loki.
Different universe.
that doesn't matter. You said how many Lokis from this Avengers?
Yeah, that Avengers doesn't have that Loki.
They go back in time.
Yeah, to a different universe.
It's the same Loki.
Listen. As a character, I will concur that Loki is better over the course of the MCU. But as a villain with the realm of their respective Avengers movies, I think Ultron is more entertaining, more scary, more villainous, and cooler. I just think he's cooler. I think he's better. I enjoyed him more.
Okay. First of all, it wasn't a different universe until they changed certain things.
Bro.
So at some point when they time traveled back into Avengers, it was still the same Loki as it was in the future. But when they changed changed certain things that happened, then it branched off into its own universe.
So does this go into what category would you put this in?
I say marvelous.
I think bussin'.
Okay. Do we want to meet in the middle again?
Bussin'?
Middle.
Are you censorship? Are you?
Bussin' is not bad, Eli.
That's
bussin'
crazy.
is bussin'. But it's an amazing.
Rounding out phase 2, because technically pre-Disney Plus TV shows are not in their phases. They're just out when they're out. Ant-Man. The first one. Best Ant-Man of the trilogy.
By a long shot too.
I really like this.
A long shot.
I really like this movie. I'm gonna say it's probably amazing, but I would like to hear you guys out.
I would agree with you with amazing. Another character that should not have worked. This movie shouldn't have worked. You know what I mean? It's like the name for crying out loud. But I know my mom didn't want to see it because it's about ants. You know what I mean? You got Paul Rudd, and Paul Rudd looks the same now than he did 30 years ago.
Yeah.
With this, I think I knew I was gonna love the movie when we got the poster, and it was just the giant white poster with the little speck in the middle.
Yeah.
It says Amen. And then we got the TV spot or trailer thing, and it was just Michael Douglas and Paul Rudd. Dude. But yeah, this is amazing. It's really good.
Eli, you seem to be upset when we said amazing.
I'm not a huge Ant-Man fan, and that goes for all of them. I'm not going to get specifically into the latter ones, but this one, I just think it's maybe bussin', maybe coolish. I'm bored. It's the same, another movie where I fell asleep. I think I fell asleep 18 times this time on this one. I'm not a huge fan.
I will say, I'm changing my answer to bussin'.
Okay.
Because Yellow Jacket's not that good. And the Thomas the Tank Engine scene is no.
That's a great scene. I don't want to hear it.
Guys, I wish Edgar Wright.
Here's the deal. I have a hot take about that. I'm glad Edgar Wright didn't stay, because his vision would not have been the movie that we saw. If this was a standalone Ant-Man movie, that's different. But being part of the MCU, Edgar Wright could not operate in that environment because he's so meticulous. I would want to see that version of the movie, but in the conditions that we're here, we still got that scene that Edgar Wright directed, and we still we know that Edgar Wright and Kevin Feige are on good terms. I think we got the best possible ending.
But think of how much better Ant-Man's whole story would be if Edgar Wright made all 3 movies, like James Gunn did with Guardians.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude.
I think Guardians, James Gunn does a good job of treading the line between goofball and cool, serious Marvel movie. I think Edgar Wright. I think this is what the Ant-Man's movies already did, and I especially think it would happen with Edgar Wright. I think it would go way over into goofball town, and it would make me not like them even more.
I will say, I think a reason why I like Ant-Man 1 over 2 and 3 is of how grounded it is, ironically speaking, because this is a superhero movie. But I don't like the second and third one for how much especially the third one, for how much they're delving into the supernatural side of things and the whole quantum stuff. I get it, quantum has to be a part of the story, but I just felt like I liked the first one so much for how realistic it is. That's really dumb to say.
Yeah, no, I get exactly what you mean. It's a
even
because
take. All of his prison buddies and everything, we just lose them in the third movie, and it's just terrible.
Yeah, it is. I do like how it's just kind of we take the perspective that we get with these TV shows where it's just like the average everyday people kind of thing. Well, as average as you can get with superpowers, but like the only Avenger we see is Falcon. You know, that's the level we're working on here. This isn't
I forgot about that scene.
this isn't like a crazy thing. This is just some people trying to work their way through the universe. Speaking
I never
of,
thought, never
oh,
thought
you
about
go.
that before. Okay, the first one, it does do. I don't want to be repetitive. Never mind. Let's go to the next one.
Speaking of lower level boots on the ground, grounded things, we got Jessica Jones. I'm gonna start this one out. If we had only season 1, this would be marvelous. Since we have seasons 2 and 3, this is bussin'. It brings it down so much, seasons 2 and 3. I would even be okay with Coolish, but I think season 1 is too good to keep it from that. But I don't, Ben, you haven't seen this, have you?
No, but I need to because I love
David
what in the
Tennant?
world? I almost said Channing Tatum.
Fans of Channing Tatum would love Jessica Jones.
No, but I love David Tennant, and I know
Kilgrave is supposed to be one of the best in the universe, one of the best
yeah,
villains. Eli,
not to be mistaken for Killmonger.
true.
Very
Eli.
similar characters. I'm not gonna lie. No, they're not. I really want to say this belongs in Amazing. I really do, but seasons 2 and 3 are just they're just so fine, just fine.
Yeah,
Like, okay, like yep, that's what I felt like when I finished the show.
yeah. 3 is okay. You may disagree on this. I would say 2 is bad. I would say 2 is actually
I
bad.
disagree with you.
Yeah, and that's fair. But as far as I'm concerned, 1 is marvelous, 2 is fart. So I think the show, and 3 is just okay. So I think the show belongs in Wilson.
So
do.
if you're recommending me to watch the show, would I be fine just watching the first season, or do I?
Yeah, no,
should I
season
watch?
one, if you don't want to have the badge of honor saying you've seen everything, if that's not important to you, then I would still recommend season 1. If you want to see everything, then obviously watch it. But if you just want to watch the good stuff, season 1 is all you need.
I would say I would give you 1,000 reasons to watch all 3 seasons, but none of them are because they're good.
Except for the first one.
It would just be it would be good to have context for watching all the Defenders. It would be, there's other reasons I come up with, but it's not because this is amazing content. It's just
Except for season 1.
yeah, season 1.
Season 1 approaches Daredevil levels of quality.
Oh, awesome.
And it's a lot more
and
it's
this is the first Breaking Bad character in the MCU.
I don't want to get too specific. Something I really like about about Kilgrave is we see a lot of like magic, like runes and sparkles and moving candles, but like the magic and like the superpowers in Jessica Jones is like it's really gritty, and it's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just it seems more practical. Like they use practical effects. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. But I think we have our next Marvelous. If I was in control, I don't know how you guys feel. Captain America Civil War.
Like on par with Winter Soldier. It's so good, and this is one of we get such a good villain with Zemo, and unfortunately Falcon and Winter Soldier do ruin him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But this is so good. We get the first appearance of Black Panther. Wakanda just is like incredible in the they're not Wakanda, but the Wakandan
the Dora Milaje.
Yeah, thank you. The Dora Milaje in this, dude, everything in this, like Winter Soldier's back up to his shenanigans once again.
That commercial when it was the trailer, where the entire trailer goes by, and it's like, oh, look at that, Captain America, Iron Man, Black Panther. Oh, that's so cool. And they're all together and they're fighting. And then in the last 5 seconds, Spider-Man shows up. Bro.
Super cool. And like such a great introduction for Spider-Man too. Yeah. It's like this movie, is this Russo brothers as well?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like so like especially being just like the Marvel fan and watching this like yearly when it comes out, it's like you're super excited because you're getting. I mean, let's look at like what came out since the Russo brothers started directing stuff. I mean, they had Ant-Man, which wasn't, people still really liked Ant-Man, but I mean, you had Ultron, you had, I mean, in Civil War. So I think it's like what, 3 or 4 movies. That's
Civil
like,
War.
Yeah.
I said Civil War.
Play it back. No, but I
yeah,
see what
whatever.
you're saying. Yeah.
But either way, I'm super excited to watching this, and I'm like excited to see what's going to happen, because this also shapes like everything. It changes
Yeah.
so much, and it's like it honestly ruins the Avengers. Not like ruins the movie, like destroys like the whole
The
Avenger.
team.
And
Yeah.
the
And then
beginning scene too.
we
with,
don't see them again
Crossbones.
until Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And also, I forgot to say, with Ant-Man being the final movie in phase 2, we are now in phase 3. But yeah, Civil War, absolutely fantastic. This was my favorite movie of all time for a few years when it came out. That's because that pretty much Marvel was the only thing I saw. But man, I still, dude, they just do everything right in this.
When I watched it, I was like, but a wee lad. And I didn't even understand. Like, I don't even know if I was even old enough, but I didn't try to understand all the Sokovia Accord stuff, the political aspect of it. I didn't even know like what is a good movie or not. I didn't understand any of that. And even the action alone made it in my brain one of the best Marvel movies in my opinion. Like the iconic scene where Iron Man is like shooting lasers down on Captain America's shield. Just that, watching that for the first time is like a dopamine explosion in your brain.
Yeah.
And you also get like such good character building with like Scarlet Witch and Vision. Like, and that builds so much too.
The
It's
airport
like,
fight scene. Oh my word.
yeah.
It's so cool.
Well, speaking of Justin Hammer, him and his technology are referenced in our next project, Luke Cage.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Actually integral to the plot, right?
Yes. Luke Cage. How are we feeling, boys?
Okay.
And by boys, I mean Eli.
I think I'm very biased for this show. Cameron knows this.
Yeah.
Cameron we majorly disagree on this. I say this is amazing. I love, mainly because of the way it ended. I love the way it ended. I think it's just perfect for his character development. I was really excited to see how it kept going, but we didn't exactly get that. Man, I wish I could get into like spoilerific detail, but I can't. And without getting into detail.
Ben, do you plan on watching Luke Cage?
I don't plan. My only thing I know about Luke Cage is from playing Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, and then the Spider-Man Disney XD show.
Cool. So do you care about spoilers?
No. I know he has sex with Kristen Ritter's character.
That is in Jessica Jones. So Eli.
Oh.
Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Go ahead and say what you're going to say, Eli.
So it's when I've thought a lot about this, if this is actually a good character arc or if this is a terrible character arc. And it always has been trumped by how cool it is. He starts out just as the normal super villain, he's Luke Cage, indestructible skin, and everyone knows that.
He's not a villain.
Yeah, no, it's superhero. And then he ends out by the end of the show. I'm going to be really brief here. He is basically a king. He was sitting in the sea of this. He's like the kingpin of where his villains previously were, and
he's the crime boss now.
He's the crime boss of Harlem now. He's in control, and you could say that is a terrible place as an arc to go. It kind of is turning him, it's a misfunction in the arc. I think that's perfect, and I think they would have taken it in very morally gray but interesting ways in the future seasons.
But that's how the show ends.
That's how the show ends because they did not know they were getting canceled. All of these shows got canceled on Netflix. In fact, every single Marvel television show except for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. were canceled. Except if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wanted to keep going, they would have been canceled, but they wanted to stop at 7. But yeah, they all were canceled. This one, I like as Eli said, I majorly disagree with him. I think ending on that cliffhanger was terrible. It makes it really awkward to bring Luke Cage back in the future. Season 1 is really good. It's very different from even the other Netflix shows because it's not even that actiony. It's just a lot more of like life in Harlem and like how having someone having the morals that he does. He doesn't even like swearing. He's very morally upright, and he wants to be a beacon of hope for Harlem. And now he has these superpowers where he can actually do something with them. It's very interesting. And for that to turn into the crime boss, it's an interesting character arc if we got to see it end. But unfortunately, we don't. And on top of that, quality majorly dips from season 1 to 2. I think season 1 is good for most of it. It kind of gets bad, not bad, but it gets worse towards the end. And season 2, I think, is a major disappointment. I would say this goes into bussin' or even coolish. But
I'm not gonna let you put it in coolish. I'll concede I'm bussin'. I
okay,
think it goes in amazing, but I think we should keep it there.
okay. Doctor Strange.
Marvelous, easy, just
Whoa, that's pretty
easily.
high.
I biased, by the way. I'm just
So I really enjoy Doctor Strange. Um, but like bussin' material, not like it's just an average movie, honestly. We get a fun trip scene when he like goes to the bald lady. I don't
Yeah,
know anyone's name in this. But
the
like
ancient one.
the final fight scene is very underwhelming. The Dormammu stuff is fine, but like again, it's just I don't think it works. Especially because there's this big build up, and even with like the lady character too, I don't feel like we ever get enough of her. That's the nurse.
Yeah,
Also I thought love interest, but then not. I don't
yeah,
know.
kind of.
I just think like the movie's kind of all over the place. I still really do enjoy it more than I dislike it, but I just think it's average. That's why I'm gonna put it in bussin'.
Um, I don't think it's as I don't even say it was bad, but I don't have as low of an opinion as you do, but I also don't have as high an opinion as Eli does. I think this is another one of those things where they're introducing an entire other side of the MCU, uh, which is the whole mystical magical side. And
Right.
it's really interesting from that way. It should have won best visual effects, but Jungle Book took it that year. Um
Jungle
and
Book was really good though.
it was, but I feel like these visual effects were more creative. But this is not a Jungle Book review. This movie, I would say, I understand the criticisms people have of it, but it is really good from like the new stuff it brings to the table. And I think it was a really creative finale that you don't see a lot, where instead of just having a bunch of explosions everywhere, he uses the powers he has to him to have a creative solution instead of just a bing bang zoop zop laser solution. I think this is really creative, introduces a bunch of new stuff to the MCU, and I would put it in amazing.
I said marvelous only because fetus Eli watched this movie around 19 times every minute, and I feel like I kind of have to compensate for how much time I put into this movie by just automatically putting it up there. But if I'm being realistic, it does. I think it deserves amazing, because of just the reasons that Ben said. I don't
Yeah.
think, yeah.
So we go from one kind of mystical magic to another with Iron Fist, this one being a lot more martial arts focused and also with critically low reviews. And this is one that I think all of us have seen, at least been seen more of this than he has the other ones that he hasn't, right? You've seen like the first season of this,
No,
correct? No?
I saw basically all I've seen of this is just the whole story, like the whole show of Arrow. It's the DC project because it's kind of just like the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Ben. This is basically Marvel's interpretation of
A
Arrow.
worse version of Arrow. Like
Yeah.
one of the few things that DC has done better is make Iron Fist.
When I have no idea what you mean at all, but
Dude, Arrow is like the same thing. It's like he was like this billionaire guy missing, and learned how to like kill a bunch of people and fight and stuff.
Okay,
Comes
yeah.
comes back and is in charge of the company again, and so balances being in charge of this company and fighting crime. It's like
Ben, if you get general enough, Arrow is basically everything.
No, actually, Ben's right. There are a lot of similarities, but I guess he didn't. Maybe Isaac's the one who saw it. I don't know. Somebody saw this. But Eli, before we and you get into it, let's say this. This is critically panned. This is very much disliked. Of every single Marvel Cinematic Universe Netflix property, all of which who have now been brought over to Disney Plus, this one is the least likely probably to be refolded back in. If he does, I doubt we'll see Finn Jones.
I liked him in Game of Thrones.
That being said, I think this movie gets immensely overhated, and then especially season 2 actually gets pretty good. That also being said, it's still the worst of the Netflix stuff, and I would put it in coolish. What do you think?
Couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said.
Yeah, obviously.
You know what? Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, no, this movie is like, I don't even have a metaphor for it. I don't know. Okay. This show is, it's crazily overhated. I feel like people overhate it because it's a cool thing to do. I don't feel like they have any actual criticism of it. I don't get the hate. I just simply don't. Can you tell me some criticism there is of this show?
The people think that the choreography is bad, which when compared to Daredevil, yes. People think that the story is poor compared to Daredevil, yes. People think that the acting is bad when compared to Daredevil, yes. That being said, as its own thing, it still does have just average thing of all of those things. Season 2 does pick it up. Season 1, the story's just okay, the acting's just okay, the action's just okay, all of that. The characters are just okay. Season 2 really remedies a lot of that. But I think the damage had already been done at that point.
I will say I disagree with the choreography because I saw a scene where they're at like this office building, and like it was like a crossover thing too, because I think Daredevil was there.
That was Defenders.
And
yeah,
okay. I'll save that then. I'll save it.
Okay.
But yeah, this was like an average show, and it was being compared to, at the time, season 1 of all the other Netflix shows, which is the best of each of their respective Netflix shows. Arguably Daredevil season 3 is better. I still agree with season 1 being better, but Netflix Marvel was at like the top of the world critically. And then when you come out with a bunch of like 10 out of 10 stuff, and then you get like a 6 out of 10 show, that becomes way worse if the expectations are set high.
I think this movie suffers from something that Thor: The Dark World suffered from, which was you literally, when you talk about Kunlun and the Kunlun in general, like
that's where Iron Fist crash landed, by the way, and learned martial arts.
I think Green Arrow's island was called something with Deathstroke, but I can't remember.
Bro, we're not talking about Green Arrow. Just kidding. No, but Kunlun, I think there's so much potential they had here, and I know the shows had at this time had tremendously less money than the movies, and if they had more money to play around with, I think they could have made something just awestrike, whatever the phrase is. But I just think they wasted a lot of potential that they could have had.
Speaking of budget, this show and Inhumans, which we'll talk to later, both are considered the worst shows in all of it. They were both produced and made showrun by the same guy, and he is famous in the industry for let's have a little game show. A, making quality content for all streaming services. B, being like the best person to hire for anything regardless of genre. Or C, making things really fast and really cheap. The answer is C. Yeah, he's known for being able to get stuff out the door quickly without not spending that much money. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. Guardians 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Following up Guardians 1, there's a lot of expectation here. How did it meet those expectations?
For me, it's marvelous.
Start with Eli.
Okay.
Man. Let's start with Eli.
Guardians 2,
Yeah.
Just with ego.
Yes.
I'm gonna put it in a fat marvelous because I like it. I don't really have any other reasons.
Yeah.
That's literally it.
W. Eli. I agree. I absolutely love this movie. I relate a lot with Peter here. My dad was also a planet, and no, but I do enjoy the actual message of the movie. I think it's really good. Music I think is better in the second one. And we were in our we are even introduced to Mantis in this, and I think Drax is even better in this. I think everyone's chemistry is so much better. Um, Arguably, Guardians is a better made movie, the first one, but I actually enjoy the second one more than I do the first one.
Nice. Yeah, I think this goes to Marvelous as well. These Guardians movies are great. It introduces Mantis, which is in my top 3 favorite Guardians characters.
I agree.
I love Mantis so much. And just there's so much at play here. I still think I like Guardians 1 more, but that probably is just nostalgia because the Guardians 1 had to introduce all these things and make it good. Guardians 2, everyone we know it now. Now we can actually really delve into these characters, see how they tick, stuff like that. And then obviously you got David Hasselhoff and you got Pac-Man, the titans of the industry. I think this is great.
I think this movie, unlike a lot of movies in this franchise that we're gonna get to, handles godhood really well. That level of power, I think it handles it very well. It's very, you got to be really careful when you talk about deity level of power because you can inflate the entire universe, and that's the storytelling modem of fight scenes very easily. And this movie handles it with the respect it should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming. What a perfect title. After years and years of Sony clutching desperately to the Spider-Man property, they finally decided to hold hands with Marvel, and we got Spider-Man Homecoming, which I would put in marvelous. What do you guys think?
Amazing.
I think it is amazing. I don't think it's marvelous.
Okay. And you would say that because
okay, I know. Honestly, I don't know. I just don't. All right, I've only seen this once. The others I've seen twice. I think it has a big pacing issue. I think it's just really fast at times and really slow at other scenes. But also Donald Glover's in it, so I don't know. That's just I remember not being bored, but I just remember noticing some things drag.
Yeah.
What's it called? I feel when you look at the Marvelous category and you scan what else is in that row, it's a lot of like conglomerate movies with a bunch of group of arcs, or something like Daredevil where it's just so incredibly phenomenal that it has to be in Marvelous. I don't think Homecoming reaches that level of just wow that something like Daredevil does, where it is a story about one character and it's a one character's arc. But it's just I don't think it's that to that level.
Yeah. I will concede to the popular opinion of the group that it is amazing, even though I still agree that's marvelous. I think it is marvelous solely due to the villain. I mean, the villain is enough to make it marvelous. Vulture is one of the best villains in the entire series. And the twist is fantastic. I never saw it coming. I think Spider-Man is a great character. I think his pals are amazing. You gotta love Ned. I think that this movie does Spider-Man well, and in an industry and where we have had 3 Spider-Man reboots in 10 years at this point, it somehow still manages to keep a fresh view of the character, and it doesn't really bog us down with information we already know or feel repetitive and it keeps it fresh, it keeps it lighthearted, and I think this is just probably one of the best Spider-Man movies and one of the best Marvel movies.
What's so cool, like this is something I've noticed for a while. I feel like people's opinions on Vulture are way too high. Like, what's so substantially cooler about Vulture than Joe Schmo over there?
For
Who?
once, I kind of agree with Eli here. I just like, I don't know. I thought he was fine, but
Yeah.
I know I'm in the minority here.
I think that first of all, the twist is really good, because it's you don't see it coming. Second of all, Spider-Man has always been about like, even though he has these epic superpowers and he's doing all this like city saving stuff, he always tells personal stories. And so by connecting the villains so personally to Spider-Man, that just kind of encapsulates the essence of Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is all about balancing his home life and his superhero life. And in order, like, he has to let go of his high school crush and this perfect night that he could have with her at prom to save the day and take down her father, which in turn has her moving away. And as we see in No Way Home, when she finds out about it, we see on a newspaper that she hates him, and that just sacrificing his personal life for the greater good and how it's done. And I think the design of Vulture is amazing. I just think that's why he's so held in such a high regard.
I would.
I just think he's better in Venom. Let There Be Carnage or
Uh,
Morbius. He's in Morbius.
Morbius, yeah, yeah. Well, there is a debate there, I guess. I don't know who you are, but I got a
I,
feeling Spider-Man has something to do with this.
I would just for sake of arguing your point. This may seem like what that doesn't make any sense. It just makes sense to me though. When it comes to him like being MJ's dad, I don't
It's
think
actually
that.
not MJ's dad, but I understand what you meant.
Okay, yikes. I don't think that adds to the coolness of him as a villain. I think that adds like I think it's coolness to the movie overall, but when it comes to him as a villain, when I see Vulture come down with his wings, I don't go, "Whoa, that guy gave birth to Zendaya." Like that's
It's
just
real.
not
It's
my
You're still
initial
not the same
reaction.
character, but I still understand what you mean, and that's an opinion that you can have. But so is what I said. Defenders,
I'm
man,
sorry.
this should be marvelous, but it is probably coolish or bussin'.
Um,
Before Eli starts, Ben, go ahead and say your opinion of that fight scene you were going to talk about.
The fight scene was really cool.
Yeah. Hallway fight scenes are kind of a staple of the Netflix stuff. And when they bring them together, it does not fail to be cool. The show as a whole, though, I think has it's not as good as it should be with who's in it.
yeah, so this is the thing with Marvel. I don't mean to be too comparative because I know that can be a bad thing sometimes, but Marvel, look at our list right now. Marvel is super good, or it's super good at group stuff. You take a bunch of stories, you put them together in a little soup, and it's a wonderful soup. They're super good at groups of different stories coming together, and they're also really good at shows up to this point. I think this is the perfect storm for that. It's a group of the show characters coming together, and it does not deliver. I think it's worse than all of the shows up to this point. I think it's the right below Iron Fist on this list. I think it's coolish.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put it in coolish. It not only is it a disappointment just because of who's in it and the track record thus far, there are good moments. Pretty much anything Daredevil does in the show or the Daredevil characters in it is cool. Stick is awesome in this.
Mhm.
Um, and everything they're doing with Elektra is cool. But Daredevil and what the journey he goes on is really nice. But like all the other characters, this definitely should have been better, and it's hard for me to say to specifics as to why. It's just I don't know. I will say it is funny though, the lore it adds to the show, and it because of Defenders, we now know that the city of New York is foundationally built upon the skeleton of a dragon, and if you remove that skeleton, it will crumble. Um, and that is canon, and that is lore. And speaking of canon and lore, Inhumans, I would like to
Mhm.
start out by saying when I was compiling this list and getting all these images together, I forgot about Inhumans. until the very end. So, and I was reading a list, so I had to look over it. I'm just gonna do us all a favor and put it in fart before we even start talking about it. But I agree with the general consensus that this is pretty terrible, and I can be very detailed as to why. But I think Eli kind of likes it more than I do, so I'm gonna let him start.
I really, really want to like it. I really do. I say I like it. I will defend it. I know it's fart. I agree that it's fart, but deep down, it's like on the little it's on the little thread on the little skid mark of coolish. I just think it's I think that's so different than even something like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's even farther in terms of distinctness than
It
that.
is technically closer in terms of distance, though,
Okay,
because it is on the
technically
moon.
they're on the moon. No,
I
I
thought
knew
they
you
were
were
in Hawaii.
I'll explain that when he's done. But yes,
I just it's so corny. It's so incredibly corny. It's like it wants to be something serious and to be taken seriously, and it's like a teen drama when you watch it.
but even that being said, there are teen dramas on this list that do it better. This is if CW wanted to make a Marvel show today, not like good CW. This is if bad CW made a Marvel show. The
Exactly.
CGI is bad. The story is atrocious. The characters are wasted. And the plot is actually backward. The villain is a superhero, and the superhero is a villain. Um, the only reason the villain is bad is because he kills people. It has this Falcon the Winter Soldier problem where the villain has lots of good points, so much good points that after defeating the villain, the superheroes do what he said anyway.
Isn't that Black Panther too, though?
Yes.
Are you ever gonna watch this, Ben? I kind of want
No,
to spoil what Cameron's
I'm
talking
never gonna
about.
watch Inhumans.
Okay.
Maximus is the villain. Eli, do you want to say this?
I mean, you probably can explain it better than I can.
So I'll say this very quickly. The Inhuman Society that is on the moon, which technically means any movie or TV show in canon that you watch that takes place before 2017, means there is a civilization on the moon. Anyway, by the end of the show, they move to Hawaii because the moon's colony gets destroyed. But that's that explanation there. The whole plot is Maximus, which is part of this Inhuman royal family. In human society, you get your superpowers once you get exposed to a certain chemical at a certain age, and then you are put into a caste system based on what your power is. If your power is beautiful, or if it is like deemed important by the society, you are on a higher class. You get to live in kind of like the capital in the Hunger Games. You get extravagant clothing, cool buildings,
That's such
all
a
that
good
stuff.
idea.
And then when you are in when you have bad powers, ugly powers, or powers good for the mines, you get sent to the mines. You're in lower class and all that stuff. So there is a royal family, and they all have cool powers except for Maximus, who, when he was exposed to the chemical that turns Inhumans into the Inhumans they're supposed to be by giving them powers, the only power he got was getting turned back into a normal human. But just because he's related to the royal family, he still gets to live in high society. But he feels a connection to the poor people because he has a power that would have put him in their society. So he sees the injustices that they face. He tries to make a point to say, hey, this shouldn't be happening. Let's stand up and make sure everyone's equal and all that stuff. And they're like, no. And then they defeat him. And then they're like, actually, yes. And so they keep him. Also, this has nothing to do with the plot, but Medusa, you see her on the cover there. She's the girl with the crazy red hair. Her power, she has crazy red hair, and they didn't have the budget for it, so they shave her head in episode 2. Okay.
That's a perfect way of explaining it. They make a hero, a wonderful political hero, and then they make him the villain for the entire show.
And then they do what he said at the end. It was cool to see Anson Mount was the only redeeming quality of the show, and he's the best character in the show. It's funny that that's the case because he's the only character who can't talk. It's I was really cool seeing him back in Doctor Strange, even though it was a different universe version. And yeah, I will save the knowledge I have of this show for that video if it is made, but this show technically did influence a recent project. But fart, but not fart. And in fact, breaking the trend of farts, Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
In a series of farts, a marvelous beast rises from the ashes, I would say.
That's a pretty amazing beast.
It's marvelous for sure.
This
This is the
before
only
I place
MCU
it in
movie.
this tier. Let's go back to Ben's point from earlier. Look at Ragnarok next to its other posters.
Exactly. It's like crazy.
You go ahead,
Um,
man.
this is the only MCU movie I didn't see in theaters. Because I was away.
Yeah.
In Illinois for the school convention. Because you know how I said that every year the MCU movies would come out on those days? Well, the
Yeah.
same school convention also happened that same week. So it was really like a toss of the dice to see like if I was gonna be able to watch the movie opening night in theaters or not. And this one I was not able to. So
Yeah.
but it's great. It's like so amazing. It like fixes every issue that was with Thor's character. Taika Waititi takes a seat into the director's chair and should have got up and left after the movie ended, and instead just stayed there. But no, it is so funny. The Hulk is incredible in this as well, and we're given different characters like Valkyrie, played by Tessa Thompson, and we even meet Korg, and we love Korg, and Korg
Yeah.
is amazing. Who is also the first canonical gay character?
In the movies, yes. In the shows,
Agents
no.
of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Agents
yeah,
of
Korg.
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah. The guy whose power is he can melt metal by touching it, he's gay. I'll
Oh,
show.
I thought you
Yeah.
meant Korg was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Sorry.
No.
Yes, it's all connected. No, yeah, it's like it's so perfect. It's so much fun. And Hela is such a good villain in this too. And we get such a good scene with like it just works so well for Thor's character. Everyone in it is so good. Even like Loki, his dad Odin. It's just amazing. And Matt Damon.
Yeah. Matt Damon. So Eli, you said it was just amazing. What do you what's your problem?
Ben, I agree with everything you said with the wholeness of my heart. Okay. I looking at the other movies in Marvelous. I think it's the best and amazing we have so far, and maybe for the rest of this list. But I just don't think it makes the Marvelous cut.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, me and Ben will overrule you and put it into Marvelous because I think not only is it great on its own, it was able to make anything out of the first two Thor movies. It really
Right.
it was really great.
I think a good reason too why I didn't watch this one in theaters was because of the first two and just like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and just how not good they were.
And
I just don't think the rich contrast of quality from the first two to this one makes it automatically a
I
better
think it's Marvelous based on its own merits too, as a
Right.
standalone thing. Now, going from a comedic 80s inspired, vibrant cheer fest by Taika Waititi to The Punisher on Netflix, the most TV mature of anything in the series. Ben, I assume you haven't seen anything from this. Me and Eli will talk about it.
Punisher?
Yeah,
I finished the Punisher.
the TV show.
Yes.
Oh, well then looks like we have a Trace Amigos discussion on our hands. I'll let Ben go first then, since he hasn't had an opportunity to talk about Netflix shows since Daredevil.
Right. The first season is like immaculate.
Yeah.
A lot like all of these other Netflix shows besides like a few of them.
All of them except for most of them.
Except for like two.
Yeah.
But no, Punisher is such a good character. John Bernthal is like the perfect. When you mentioned the thing about Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr., I would argue with you that John Bernthal is all just an equivalent, like perfect casting for the Punisher because I
There's a
can't see
lot of
anybody else
perfect
playing
casting
him.
in the MCU. Yeah.
It's like John Bernthal is incredible in it, and this is such a gruesome show. And the main villain is so good, so personally connected with our antagonist slash protagonist.
Yeah.
The Punisher is definitely not for everybody. He's definitely not a hero. But his story is so amazing to watch. It is so violent and bloody. It's amazing. And then there's season 2. And I really enjoy season 2, but I know a lot of people don't like season 2.
I'm not one of those people, but I didn't know you were still going, so keep going.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say something, but yeah. season 2, we're introduced to someone that I thought looked a lot like the girl from Jesse. What's her
Peyton
name?
List.
Peyton List, but
Yeah.
it wasn't Peyton List. Um, but we get like, the violence is still there. I think the action is still there. The story is not as good, I think, in the first one. And a lot of these nerds will say that, well, the Punisher came out after the snap in Infinity War. So how does that work? And
Timeline wise, it's still pre-snap.
no, not the end of season 2.
The end of the last like 30 seconds of season 2 are
Exactly.
post-snap. Yeah.
But if you actually watch the show and see what he's doing, it's so plausible.
It
So
doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
it's not an argument. But no, Punisher is like incredible. I would put it in amazing.
Yeah. I think both seasons are very amazing, very good. Season 1 could arguably marvelous, maybe not the most obvious marvelous, but it could be. Season 2 is also really, really good. I think season 1 and season 2 are almost the same level of quality. The problem comes with they are very different in what's going on, and they're so different in that like season 1 is a lot about the military, PTSD. It's like very personal, very grounded, very gritty, very gory, and it has all those elements like that you would expect from Punisher show. And then season 2 has a lot of the same things in terms of the violence, but the story is a lot less relevant in terms of like the military and his stuff. It focuses more on his character and his loss of his family and his pre-war life, basically. So it kind of, fans of season 1 might be disappointed because it doesn't really follow the same footsteps. It's not, that doesn't mean you can just skip season 1 because it is important, but they're different enough to where I understand why people were disappointed by it. I still think they're both pretty good. I would also put this in amazing.
I would agree. I was thinking most of the time you guys were talking, I was thinking marvelous because I think if you have a little mental note of all of the Netflix TV shows, like on a ranking system, I think this one's right below, like directly right below Daredevil.
Yeah,
Like I don't think there's any debate about that.
I would agree.
And
I mean, I would agree too. Was all I've seen.
But yeah, it's also a fun little mental note. The Punisher, I don't know if it's needed, but it's very. Is it needed to watch a Daredevil, like to watch Punisher?
Uh,
Would it help a lot?
Daredevil is introduced in season 2. We understand a lot of his philosophy, why he does what he does, and his. I would say, yes. I would say
So
it's kind of necessary.
That's something to keep in mind. But I want to say marvelous, but like I said like I thought with Ragnarok, I don't think it makes the cut. I think it should be super high up and amazing.
Yeah. And we're not ranking everything in each tier. We're just kind of placing them as we go because that would take forever. But I think Punisher makes it into amazing. It could be marvelous, but we're gonna put it in amazing for now.
Oh, can I say something?
Yes.
So Marvel, typically not the TVMA type, typically not this gory and violent. I think it's cool that they didn't just make a gimmick out of the violence and out of the gore. They actually made it part of the story. Like the violence is so personal to the Punisher. Like literally listen to the name. It's the Punisher. It's so, the gore is just so, it's so a part of him. Just the things he has to commit in the name of whatever he's mind frame he's in at the time is such a personal journey for him. And I think this is the perfect TVMA show to like open the TVMA door for Marvel.
Yeah. I would say Daredevil does the same thing, but this does just go, this is the most brutal of all of them. Now, if the thematic whiplash from Ragnarok to Punisher wasn't bad enough, we're still turning around and going straight into Runaways. Now this is not marvelous. It's not amazing. I'd say this is bussin' at best, probably coolish. That being said, I love this show. I absolutely love this show. It is so bonkers and goofy, and it introduces so much wackiness into the MCU. And I just want to see, Daredevil and Captain America and the Velociraptor from this show meet up. because this show means there's a T-Rex, not a T-Rex. There's a Velociraptor running around. There's like rainbow skinned superheroes. There's so much
There's
hilarious
cults.
nonsense that is just great. There's been some alien dude that has been running a cult for like 100 years on Earth, and like I just love it so much. But it's also kind of goofy and low quality. Especially season 1 comes out and is made post Iron Fist, post Inhumans, so they were worried about connecting it too strongly to the MCU at the start until they saw reception from it. It's pretty slow paced in season 1. They don't run away until the final scene of the first season in a show called Runaways. But seasons 2 and 3 just go like full force into the wackiness, and I think it makes it bussin'.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I would like to hear your opinions.
I think it makes coolish.
Mhm.
I think okay, this is a big problem that if you're gonna watch this show, you need to keep this in mind. You need to keep in mind that it is a team drama. If
Yeah.
you just like I did, I don't remember what specific show, but if you watch Punisher and you're like, man, that was really good, and then you go into Runaways, you're probably gonna hate it, like literally hate it. I literally hated my life watching this show to begin with, but Cameron kept jamming into my head. This is a teen drama, and when you learn to enjoy it as a teen drama, it becomes honestly really good. I'd say better than Iron Fist.
If you take it for what it's giving you, if you're on board with it, you'll love it. And that's why I will stand by my bussin'. I understand that it's in a lower quality than the other things in that category, but I don't care. But if you want it to be coolish, I will agree.
I just don't think it. Look, we have Jessica Jones, we have Luke
Yeah,
Cage, and Ant-Man. I don't think it meets those
it
criteria.
doesn't. It really doesn't. I love the goofy.
Oh, no one's Ben. Can I say spoiler?
Sure.
This show makes very deep connections, the Darkhold, to a lot of other stuff in the MCU.
Yes, including but not limited to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange gets a lot of love from the TV shows,
And
which is
WandaVision.
surprising. Yeah. Black Panther,
Yeah. So here we have
Oscar nominated Best Picture.
our first Oscar nominated Best Picture, or our first Best Picture nominated Marvel MCU movie.
I think
Probably
only,
Marvel,
right?
probably Marvel movie. Yeah, only. And it's pretty good. I think it's a bit overrated. And I'm not trying to start fights or anything, but I really do enjoy it. I enjoyed T'Challa as a character. Killmonger is an incredible villain, incredible world of Wakanda that is built, and just like amazing production design with like everything going on. But this has some not good CGI, especially in the final fight scene. How are you going to have a final fight scene that is just straight up PS2 graphics? Like, that is crazy. They're not that bad, but it's still like pretty rough, and it just takes away from all of the time that you've invested in it. We also get Claw, but one of my favorite things in the movie is Ludwig Göransson's score that he did for this, and it is just perfect. Killmonger's theme is incredible, and I believe Black Panther was also nominated for Best Original Score, and I actually think no, it won Best Original Score. So
Did it?
yeah,
That's cool.
let me look it up. But yeah.
I know it won costume design. But yeah, I agree with a lot of your points. Overrated for sure. At one point in time, it was the highest rated thing ever on Rotten Tomatoes. No.
Yeah, it was.
It does what Marvel does best, which is introduce a corner of the universe that we haven't seen before and makes it feel like it's been there the whole time. And it fits so well. The story is fantastic. The characters are great. Chadwick Boseman did amazing. Wish he could have been here longer in the real world and in the series. But the complaints about the CGI exist, but I don't think they're as bad as people say they are. And with that, I would say it's amazing.
I was doing a fist bump of excitement when I found
Okay.
out that I was right, and
Awesome.
it won score and production design and costume design.
Awesome. Eli.
Yeah. Hi. My name's Eli. Okay. So sorry. Just got distracted for a second. I think Black Panther belongs in amazing. I do think it is way incredibly overhyped. I really like Black Panther's take on the classic rival system for a villain. I'm really into villains and just I like rivals, but they're really easy to make boring. I think this movie did it very well. It's the same like brother. I know they're not brothers, but the whole brotherly rivalry feel. Um, they execute it so as perfect as they could have. You know,
Yeah.
Wakanda. The CGI for the worldscape of Wakanda is beautiful. Um, yeah.
Nice. Amazing it goes. Okay. I'm not even taking opinions for this next one. I've already placed it where it goes, but we're now talking about Avengers Infinity War.
Honestly, kind of a fart. I feel like they really flopped with this one.
This was Sarah's first MCU movie.
Wild. Absolutely wild.
And she really liked it.
Is she there? Does she want to give an opinion real quick?
I will say though, no, she's not here, but
Oh.
she's like upstairs, I think.
Okay.
I will say, watching this, I did not get to experience it how I wanted to because it being Sarah's first MCU movie, I was getting asked questions throughout the whole movie. So I was never invested in it because Sarah kept on asking me. I love her. It's not me talking bad about her, but I'm just saying, like, if I went by myself, I feel like I may have been cheering a lot more and possibly crying and being into the movie, but it's still incredible nonetheless.
This is fantastic.
We have uh the first Game of Thrones character in the MCU, Peter Dinklage.
Well, I
Do
mean,
not
in the
do
movies,
not
maybe.
in the movies because I haven't seen the shows. Wait,
Yeah, Iron
who's in the
Fist.
show?
Iron Fist.
Oh yeah, you're right. Second Game of Thrones character in the MCU. So yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first Josh Brolin character in the entire MCU, right?
Yeah. Sure, man. Oh yeah, speaking of Josh Brolin, even though Deadpool 3 is an MCU movie, Deadpool's 1 and 2 are not. That's why you're not seeing them here. Just want I know that everyone was wondering that, but I'm just letting you know. That's why it's not here. Anyway, man, Eli, there's my witness, bro. This is the best theater experience I've ever had in my entire life. We went opening night. We went to a late showing on opening night, which means we had all the biggest fans and no 6-year-olds because it was a school night or something like that. We just had the perfect crowd. Everyone was cheering. Everyone was laughing. There was sobbing and crying. I remember when the snap happens, somebody vocally goes, Spidey. And like, I remember that so vividly to this day. And the movie
Yeah.
itself, I saw this movie like 58 times in theaters, bro. And that was before I had A-list, so we paid for every one. Dude, it was fantastic. Absolutely love it. And I will never, even Endgame, I'll never have an experience like I did watching this for the first time.
You
Eli.
literally, Tony Stark could have blown his nose and the crowd would have gone, "Look what he did! He did the thing!" But yeah, I don't think anyone's arguing that this is probably one of the best Marvel movies we're ever gonna get.
Yeah.
And that's because it took what, like a decade to get to this level of hype.
Yeah.
And it's such a perfect, like, think about if they would have messed this movie up, how incredibly disappointing it would have been.
Yeah.
But
Dude.
you did have the Russo brothers back at it again.
Mhm.
And they said, "Hold my beer. We're not going to make a bad MCU movie." And I don't know if they did. I'm trying to look and see what they made. I think they stopped after Endgame.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're right. And then they went on to make 21 Bridges and Cherry, and other movies with Chris Evans.
Yeah, I guess. I've never seen anything they've made since Endgame, or before Winter Soldier, so I have no idea. Except for Community, they did some stuff for Community.
That's true.
I really don't. There's so much to say, yet nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like this movie, the only downside has to do with how good it is. Like after a movie this substantial and this good, where do you go?
yeah,
Well,
and
you go up.
which is why our next thing is Cloak and Dagger.
Now, I will introduce this. This is
Okay.
the first member from Kicking It to be in the MCU, Olivia Holt.
Yeah.
And that's
Except for
all I
Bobby
know.
Wasabi's cameo in The Punisher season 2. No, I'm
He's
just
like,
kidding.
"Hey, I'm Bobby Wasabi. Here's falafel Phil."
You
Yeah.
probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Olivia Holt joining the MCU meant that the writers for Kicking It also joined the MCU for its future projects. Apparently,
Have you seen this, Ben?
so I saw the first episode, and
And
I
your
was like,
thoughts?
not bad. Then I didn't watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it wasn't bad, but I just was not hooking enough for me.
I will say this was written with the TV mature rating in mind. It was written for Netflix, not by Netflix. It was written for Netflix. They were hoping to do what Daredevil did and get on the platform, be able to do whatever they wanted. Netflix did not want the script, and the next company that they were cool going with was Freeform, and so they had to take their TV mature, gritty, realistic script and give it over to Freeform for a TV 14 rating, which I think is very obvious in the show. You can see instances where they want to get dark and they want to get deep and they want to get grounded, and then they have to be a young adult teen show on the same vein of Runaways. The tone is all over the place. The characters there's interesting premises and some interesting parts. I think overall though, this would either be the worst thing in Coolish or the best thing in Fart. But I want to hear Eli's opinions.
I think that okay. This is something for all those people who like lore. Well, if you're really looking careful at this show, you're gonna really enjoy it because it doesn't like point as in this is what the plot is doing. It like subtly like hey, look over there at very important names and very important references to other parts of the MCU. Do you know what I'm talking about, Cameron?
I do know what you're talking about, Cameron.
Yeah. They point at some really cool stuff. If you're a fan of different kinds of powers and different kinds of magic, there's been a lot of different kinds of powers displayed already. This gets into some it's like folklore voodoo type powers, which is very interesting. And then they go all Steven Universe-y with the sword. I don't want to get into that, but it's very cool how distinct the magic is in this from say something like Doctor Strange. But I just don't think I feel like if they would have went into making the show with the same teen drama intentions of Runaways, it would have been probably better than Runaways. But since they wanted to do something and just couldn't, it's just a bad show.
Yeah, so what are you thinking, Fart?
I'm thinking a high, like a good fart, like one of those farts that smell good.
This is a fart that you wish it wasn't a fart, but if it's gonna be a fart, you'd want it to be like Cloak and Dagger.
It's more like a burp, really.
Like Inhumans is the kind of fart that a little poop comes out. Cloak and Dagger is a burp. Oh. You're right.
What the
That was gross.
Yeah, I would say if this was Coolish, then we'd have to bump up Runaways to Bussin'. But since it's fart, everything stays.
Agreed.
I doubt we're leaving the fart category with this next one, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Man, this movie, I know this is a very common complaint brought against most of the MCU, but this is the first movie that I saw that I was like, wow, this entire movie was made for the post-credit scene. None of it mattered except for the last minute of the show after the credits, because they just needed to put Ant-Man somewhere for Endgame so he could be included.
I mean, we are given Jimmy Woo, and it was just a big laughing stock. Like this whole movie was. It was like Edgar Wright went from writing and shooting stuff to just being a producer and funding the movie.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
cool.
So he was an executive producer for that. But they even tried to recreate his like thing of the transitions of them like talking. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the Lewis recap.
Yeah, and it was just a lot worse. Everything in this movie is a lot worse than what happened in the first one. And it was like we're introduced with the Wasp again. But I mean, like, she's actually the Wasp this time, and she's not even given anything good to do. Like, and I think that's my biggest issue with Ant-Man that I'll talk about with Quantumania. But like, they are just kind of afraid to do anything with these characters. And they were like, okay, well, let's make a post-credit scene. All right, but we can't have a 20-second movie, so we got to make something else up. And it
Right.
was just like all over the place, not good at all.
There are some funny stuff, but a few funny lines does not a movie make. Like what I've said is all I really have to say. You would think in a movie called Ant-Man and the Wasp, we would get to have a character with the Wasp, but we still don't. So yeah, I that's a complaint I'll bring for Quantumania, but
I think this movie suffers from the same thing. Not as this movie does it a lot worse. But this movie suffers from the same kind of thing that the first Ant-Man does, in that they try to go to Goofy Town. Like Guardians of the Galaxy went to Goofy Town. It's weird, and it's weird, different powers, and it's comedy, it's comedic scenes, and there's a lot of jokes, and it's a good time. They try to go to Goofy.
Guardians, they know how to blend it though.
Exactly.
Like, this movie is not it.
This doesn't go to Goofy Town. This goes to like Goofball Boulevard. It completely goes way more longer, like farther down the road than it needs to go, and it makes it just a kind of cringe experience. And the whole movie, typically you use plot devices in your movie. This movie is a plot device to just get Ant-Man laying down in a closet.
yeah.
And it's really aggravating. I think it's a nasty fart, one of those juicy ones that gets on you.
Okay, we don't have to be very descriptive for all of them. I've made a mistake last time, and I apologize. I think we're about to have a triple whammy here, with farts.
No, we're not.
We're not.
I don't think so.
Captain
Okay.
Marvel is nowhere near as bad as these farts. Okay,
It's way
Captain
overrated.
Marvel's like, you think it's gonna be a fart, but last second it goes away in your stomach.
Bubble, bubble, bubble.
No, here's the thing though. It's like Captain Marvel is so much better than all of these, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like that, where it doesn't deserve to be in fart, because I feel bad for Brie Larson because she's an Oscar-winning actress. All right, and they give her no character at all to play with in this. I will say it is fun to see Samuel L. Jackson and Phil Coulson. But and that was probably my favorite part of it. It was just seeing them. But like it just has some pretty bad writing. Not so good music choice also. It's just like the combat's I do enjoy the scrolls, but we just don't get any more of them, I guess.
The CGI is pretty good too. I like the
yeah.
effects of her powers. Eli, what are you thinking?
I don't defend this movie because I like it. I defend it because I think it's way too hated, like substantially overhated.
Yeah.
Specifically about, it is a very forgettable movie. Like I remember them, like the idea of people fighting in that movie, but I don't exactly remember what it was. The high super superior person that shot green lasers instead of orange, I don't remember them at all. But I think not about Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers as a character, people complain that she's like way too cocky, way just not enjoyable to watch. I would say that I know it's itchy to get into comic territory when you're talking about the Marvel movies, but these are inspired off of comic books. Captain Marvel in the comics is a cocky character. I think she is portrayed good in the movie what she wants to be. She's a very arrogant person. Very
disagree with you there. The Iron Man is what they're going for, and they don't reach Iron Man. Iron Man's cocky, he's snarky, but he still has a character. He still has a personality. Captain Marvel is what Iron Man is, a character, in Captain Marvel is bullet points to describe a character. She's not fully formed. Hopefully, I think in the trailers for the Marvels, she looks like she's getting better.
She was
Writing
even better in Endgame and like
in
I
the
think
2
that's the only-
seconds that she was
Yeah.
in the other movies. Yeah, I'm glad. By the way, this movie feels kind of useless in the term. Like, I know that we're gonna see more of her in the future, but she really didn't have a role in Iron in Endgame.
I don't know why. Because
And
I actually enjoyed her in Endgame for the
yeah,
little bit that she was in.
but I don't
I
know.
just I think she delivers the arrogant, quippy, powerful character that she is in the comics and the movies. I think people place themselves in the universe when they're like, I don't like how she acts towards the other characters. Yeah, 90% of the people in this universe would be uncomfortable to interact with, but it's a movie. You're watching the character on a screen. I think she portrays the part good.
All right. And you know what? That's what makes us human. We disagree, and some of us are wrong, but that's fine. Are we all good with coolish?
Yeah.
All right. In game. There's a small amount of people, bigger than you think, but still a small amount of people who think this movie is a mega disappointment, super bad. And I feel sorry for those people because this movie
Really?
is fantastic. This movie is great. This was so satisfying to the 10 or 11 years that came before it. And yeah, I think every character that gets finalized in this movie has a great ending point. And this was just the culmination. I not only do I remember seeing it for the first time, having a great theater experience, not as good as Infinity War, but still a great theater experience with sobbing and everything. I remember the weeks and months leading up to it. I remember watching the countdown in school for the title reveal. I remember waiting in school for the first teaser to drop. This was just such an event, and it was the last time, still to this day, and I think probably ever, where the whole world waited and held their breath for a Marvel movie and actually got something exciting out of it.
Yeah, I it's really hard after Infinity War to just deliver anything and not call it trash, because Infinity War was such a catalyst of awe and amazement and just 10 years of wonder put into a 1 2 hour movie, that how do you follow that up? And Endgame somehow delivers it, and I think perfectly. I don't think you could have done it any better than Endgame did. And yeah, I think this isn't really. I think it's obviously marvelous, but I think after Endgame, this maybe I mentioned this with Infinity War, but I should have mentioned it here. What do you do now is the big question you're going to be asking for everything else on this list, and it's a huge problem.
Yeah.
A huge one.
I'm looking at the rest of our list that we have, and at least for me, I think I maybe have one more thing in Marvelous,
I have a
maybe
few. I have a
two,
couple, but
one or two.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like nothing's really compared. Um, and I think they don't know what, or I mean, they know what to do, but it's not working. Uh, and I don't know. It's interesting to see what is going to happen next. But I mean, yeah, it's marvelous. I have nothing else to say about it that's not already been said.
Yep. Now, while technically this next movie is still in phase 3, it was originally thought up as part of phase 4. So in my own head and mind, I consider this phase 4. But the final movie in the Infinity Saga, Spider-Man Far From Home. What I love about this movie is that the trailer for it came out before Spider-Man was resurrected. So it spoiled the end of Endgame. Not like anyone thought they were gonna be dead forever, but it was nice to pretend until that moment.
It did come out before Endgame. Are you
The
sure about
the trailer for this came out before Endgame did, yeah.
that? I believe it came
Because
out
this
like a
this
few
came
days
out
after
this
the
came out
release.
no, because this came out so soon after Endgame. If they waited to post the trailer, they would have had like 1 month of
And I
marketing.
think that's what they did. I look it up. I'm not even kidding.
Okay. While I'm looking this up, you guys talk about your opinions.
Yeah. I actually enjoy Far From Home a bit more. I understand it's not as good as Homecoming, but for me, I really like Jake Gyllenhaal. He's a great actor. He's fine in this, but I think I enjoy Peter finding himself more in this. I enjoy the foreign aspect of it, of them being in a different country. It just, I think this feels more high school than any other movie that involves Spider-Man. With them sneaking off during field trips and stuff like that. I just think this one's a lot of fun. Ned is a baller. And we know he's the CEO. And it's just like, I think it's incredible. I think MJ is really good in the movie. A lot of pacing. Several like issues with it, including pacing, I think, because the movie is fast paced. But Happy's in it too. And I think this is probably Tom's best performance in the MCU, I would say.
Oh, wow. I think in terms of quality and where it's going to lie on this list, it's Far From Homecoming. Thank you. Anyway, I think that what this movie does like really good that a lot of Marvel movies don't do. It's just not present. This movie is extremely present in my mind after I'm watching it. Like I'm looking at the list right now. This is obviously in order it was released in. I'm very surprised it's in this, like it's where it is on this list because it's still very recent in my mind. So rememberability, is there a word for that?
Memorability.
Memorability is just this movie's, I believe, its strong suit.
Yeah.
I think it's a little something that annoys. This might be just personal preference. I'm a little annoyed at just like me, like the little Spider-Man point, haha, funny memes. No, thank you. I don't need that. I've read it for that. I'm not a huge fan of the memes that just I feel like they're trying too hard.
I will say I have a friend that was in Europe while they were filming, and she saw Tom Holland face to side of his face, because obviously he like probably didn't even look at her, but she saw him while he was filming, so that was cool.
Basically means he's a friend of the podcast. So
yep, Tom Holland, if you want to be on an episode,
just contact us through Ben's mutual friend. I would say this: every time I think about this movie, I think it's just okay, and then every time I watch it, I'm surprised by how good it actually is.
It's so much fun.
It's really good, really fun. I like Mysterio a lot. Jake Gyllenhaal's great. I like the fight scenes, especially that final one where he is using his Spidey senses. Fantastic. I don't think it reaches the heights of Homecoming.
I think the ending too, with Mysterio announcing his like identity, that was like such a pivotal point too. Yeah. And especially from where it, like, if you look, we don't get that addressed at all afterwards. It's like such an incredible cliffhanger that we just have to wait. And also, like, the weekend that it released, Sony announced that they're not giving MCU any more things too.
Yeah,
so that caused
that
like
was
a
a big
huge uproar. Like, that's so crazy. It's like insane. Sony definitely did that on purpose.
I did look it up. Avengers Endgame came out in April of 2019, and the first trailer for this movie came out in January of 2019.
Really?
Yes. So
that's a lot longer than I thought. Oh, sorry.
No, you got this, bro. You got it.
I found something about this movie that I really, really didn't like, and I don't like still. I feel like I love Doctor Strange. He's one of my favorite characters in the entire.
This is not that movie. Doctor Strange is not in this movie.
Oh, that's No Way Home.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
I would put this in Bussin'. What do you guys think?
Oh, it's amazing. Amazing Spider-Man.
All right, Eli, break the tie.
That's why I remember it has such remember value, because I'm thinking of the wrong movie. Oh my goodness.
So what did you think of Far From Home?
Good Lord. I think it's Bussin'.
Okay.
That felt terrible.
I'm sorry, Ben.
That's my favorite Spider-Man movie too.
Of all of them?
Of the three,
Wow. See, you feel strongly about the Amazing. I feel not that strongly about the Bussin', so I'll give it to you. Like, I don't think about this
we
movie.
won.
I don't
We
think about
won.
this movie that much. So this is the only thing on this list that I think none of us have seen. It's the final of the Marvel television projects pre-Disney Plus. It is Helstrom. So since none of us know about it, I looked up reviews. This is critically panned. It has a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes, but audiences love it. So
We go with the audience score.
I'm gonna put it in coolish, just so it's on the list. I don't know it enough. We could put it in bussin', but I don't know it enough. Oh, we'll put it in bussin'. Let's be fair. Let's put it in the middle. Audiences love it. Critics hate it. We'll put it in the middle. If you've seen it, put it in the comments below. What did you think of Hulu's Helstrom?
And we read every comment for your guys' YouTube videos.
We do read every comment. I'm pretty sure we only have about 7 total, but we read
And
all
we
of them.
respond to every comment
That's just
starting now.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, of course. Every comment starting now. Okay, we respond to every person that comments. If you comment 30 posts, we're not going to respond to all of them. But if 30 people comment, yes. Anyway, also if 30 people see this, only a few of you have to like for me to get that video. Just think about it. Just think about it.
And it's not a Patreon exclusive. It's not an
here.
OnlyFans thing. It's a real deal.
WandaVision's pretty cool.
WandaVision is their first Disney Plus show. It's the first installment of Phase 4. First thing post Endgame. First thing post coronavirus. This was the grand return to Marvel after a long pause, and it was drumroll
Doggy
please.
doo-doo. It wasn't fart. It was coolish.
Eli, what do you think?
I don't know. I feel like it was coolish or bussin'.
It's more bussin', actually, in my opinion, because I think the ending just ruins it for me. It's like, and it's a very similar MCU TV show thing. Is that like they start off really good, and I'm really into them, and then you get those like last 2 episodes, even that last episode, and then it's like, wow. Especially with WandaVision, we get this total aesthetic, like hyper, just like crazy, time shifting show, and then the ending we get a really kicking it fight scene, and it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. It was really unique for Marvel up until the finale, and I think that is the very popular opinion. It is good up until the finale. And for a show that is so dependent on the finale, I don't know. I haven't rewatched it since. Friend of the podcast, brother of the podcast, Isaac Brooks has rewatched it. He says it is good on rewatch. If you ignore the finale, but I would think since it is so dependent on the reveals that it might not be that way, but I don't know. I agree with the consensus of our podcast friends, and I put it in busting. I think busting.
I think
it is almost busting for me, but it's at least busting.
It is really unique. I love all the characters. I love Jimmy Woo. I love Wanda. Agatha's cool. Does not deserve her own show, but she's cool.
Yeah, it's weird. She's a great actress.
I like
she's
Kat
the first
Dennings character.
She is the second Glass Onion actor in this in the MCU.
Who? Agatha? Oh yes, she is. The first being
Colleen Wing third, by the way, because I forgot Edward Norton.
True. Oh my goodness.
Wait, what about what's his name? Drax.
It is the fourth.
Third.
No, okay. We got Ed Norton. We got Colleen Wing from Iron Fist. We got Drax the Destroyer, and now we got Agatha Harkness. Yeah.
And Hamilton is referenced, kind of. No, but anyways, go ahead.
I think. What is it? Wait, what are we talking about? WandaVision. I feel like the only thing in the entire this is going to be a consistent theme for the rest of the list. It's just I feel like I'm watching filler.
Yeah, I feel like
I
we're gonna be able
don't
to breeze through these like next few
I
ones. It's
don't
like
need to watch this, is what I feel like. The only smile I have in this show is seeing the Darkhold show up on one of the last episodes and being like, ooh, the other shows that I watched are so much cooler now. Like,
Yeah.
there's no sustenance to it.
Oh yeah, sure. I don't know. We'll see. There's still some untied up loose ends, but you can say that about most things. Phase 4. We'll see how it goes. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
uh, John Walker's incredible,
Yeah, he's a great villain. That
and
shot with the bloody shield, fantastic.
even Sebastian Stan and
Anthony Mackie.
Mackie are just really good in it too. Like the performances are fine, but the story is rough.
The
in my
story's rough,
opinion.
and I don't know the validity of the statement. I think the story had to be drastically altered from what
I
it
heard that
was
too.
because there was a plot point about a pandemic and vaccines, and they had to take it out. And if that's the case, that would explain why it feels the way it does, kind of weird, off, missing something. And
And
this
sorry,
You
go
got
ahead.
it.
No,
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead.
This villain suffers from Inhuman syndrome, which is the villain has good points, so they made her kill everybody as to have a reason to be stopped.
Right.
I don't know, man. I love the costume of Captain America,
That's
Falcon,
what I was
Captain
gonna
Say.
say. I'm
There are
really
good
excited for
parts.
this next Captain America movie.
There are good
It's
parts,
like,
but it doesn't come it together, I don't think.
yeah.
This is the first time in not the last, trust me, not the last that's gonna happen. The first time in all the MCU that I've been mad watching something. Like
Yeah.
mad at the
Yeah.
content.
You guys said that Invincible was coming out while this was, and
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, that's
Yeah, and
crazy.
they think they came out on the same day, so
Yeah.
or around it. So if you're picking between that and this, it doesn't win.
This is coolish for me.
This
Yeah.
show, it feels like you take a show, take off the intro and the conclusion, and you watch only the middle of a show. That's what the show feels like to me. I really don't like it. I feel like
Yeah.
it's so
Um,
cringe.
Well,
I hate it.
Loki. I really like this show.
I
Even
really
the
enjoy
finale.
it.
I think people dislike the finale. I really like it. I don't think it's the best it could have been, but it's so creative. The show as a whole, so creative, so new. Still finding a way to find interesting new things to do. The special effects are incredible. The story is great. The only problem I have with it is that they have Loki pre-redemption, and they need to get him to Loki post-redemption. So they literally just show him the Marvel movies, and then he goes through that character arc in like one scene. That's my biggest gripe. Once you get past that, the show is really creative, really great, and I'm excited for season 2.
Right. I was not a big fan of the last episode. Everything else, I think Loki's theme, like this whole show's theme, is so like the music is so good.
Yeah.
And Owen Wilson as Mobius
This
is
is my first time in the Marvel universe. That classic quote that he definitely said for real.
yeah, he's the first actor from Disney Pixar Cars.
From, what's that? The Night at the Museum?
Yeah.
He is in a
Word.
museum. Whoa, I forgot about that. Anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna give this a bussin'.
Awesome. I would give it an amazing.
I would give it an amazing too. I think looking at Bussin', okay, slow down, slow your roll. Is it better than Luke Cage and Jessica Jones?
Yes.
Easily for you?
If you take in the
But
entire
is it
show,
as good as Punisher and like Avengers?
yes. If you take in the entire show of Jessica Jones, yes, it's better than the full show of Jessica Jones. And is it on par with the other movies in that category? I would also say yes. I think
I'm fine if you guys put it. I'm fine if you guys put it in amazing. I am not that much of a nitpicker.
I would agree with him. I would agree with amazing.
Now, this, on the other hand,
the first Marvel movie of Phase 4, the return to theaters for the entire world.
Yeah.
Black
Florence
Widow.
Pugh's introduction to the MCU as Yelena. she's very likable, very charismatic, and
Mhm.
she's even charismatic in Hawkeye. I really enjoy her, but that's it. Like that's all I enjoyed from it. I think David Arbor was kind of disappointing as his red guy. I don't know what his
Red
name was.
Guardian.
Yeah, and I think Black Widow is so disappointing too. Like I was like, we're coming. It's like you kill her off in Endgame, and you better give her like give her closure. You know what I mean?
She had closure. Honestly, this is too little, too late for me.
Give her a good story.
If they wanted a Black Widow movie, they should have done it pre-Endgame. I don't think this needed to happen. I think they should have been like, well, we missed our chance, but we got to go. But I will say, for Scarlett Johansson's sake, I'm glad she got a Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
I know she wanted one the whole time.
It took
but
way too long.
Took way too long, caused a whole debacle with like lawsuits and everything. This Black Widow is not the reason you watch this movie. This is her family is the best part of this movie. And there's a lot. I would say this is coolish, even though I really liked it when I watched it. It does not hold up compared to everything else.
Taskmaster is also a bit disappointing. Not the actress's fault. It's just like writing. It's like Taskmaster is so cool and everything but Black Widow.
Yeah.
I think the villain's pretty cool if you consider everything. Do you remember the villain? The guy
I remember the guy who sat at a desk and was defeated by Black Widow breaking her own nose.
You don't think it was? I thought it was cool. Just it was a cool fight scene. Okay, let me change it. I think it was a cool scene, that fight scene with where they killed him. I think this whole movie is forgetful, disappointing, and again filler. Like a lot of the stuff.
I wouldn't put it in fart because the characters are interesting, but
right,
it does not go above coolish. What if the first animated project of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I really liked What If. I feel like I'm laggy.
No, you're good.
You're not.
I'm glad you did.
Okay, yeah. I really liked it. I think it's kind of hard to rate this, put this on a list like this because it's not one thing, it's like a trillion different things. An episode that really stands out to me is the Doctor Strange episode. It's just so satisfying. I even think about when I'm thinking about Marvel, I'm not laying awake and I'm thinking about What If, but like when I'm thinking about Marvel, I think about that episode and how it leads into Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Just it's the same guy, and that's such an unexpected setup and such a random.
Was it the same guy?
It sure looks like the same guy.
Yeah, I don't remember how that episode ended, but
there's kind of a little plot hole there if it is the same guy. But
I think it's a similar guy.
I think the one with the eye is
because I don't know how he ends up after the final episode.
I don't know. This whole show is so blah to me. No, I haven't seen all of it. So
I will say they shot themselves in the foot with the first episode because the first episode is one of the worst in the series. It is not like interesting in the slightest because it's literally just the movie it's based on with a different character in the main slot.
I like the animation.
The animation's cool. The episodes, they fluctuate so much from in quality. It's interesting. It's fine. It's not that great though. I would say coolish.
I would say coolish because it's the reason I don't think it's a fart because it is filler, but I don't hate that it's filler because they warned us.
It's not just filler because it is setting up the multiverse, which is they're trying to get people used to the idea of the multiverse so that they can play with it in the main universe. It is weird. This is like a spinoff, and then this spinoff is getting its own spinoff where they're making Marvel Zombies its own show, which will be the first TVMA show post Netflix, which is interesting. But as its own thing, it's just kind of coolish. Eli, if you liked it enough, I would move it to bussin' for you. But
no, coolish is where it belongs.
Coolish is pretty good. Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi is.
Oh, you're right. Shang-Chi. Breath of fresh air, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I enjoyed Shang-Chi. I thought it was pretty. It was average, in my opinion, but I enjoyed Michelle Yeoh,
Yeah.
Oscar winner. Uh, the first of a few Everything Everywhere All at Once actors that are going to be in the MCU.
Yeah.
Um,
Was that the girl
uh,
from Renfield?
Yes. Aquafina.
oh yeah, Aquafina is also in it. I think it's fine.
Oh. I think the daughter from Everything Everywhere is in this movie as well.
I would not be surprised. Stephanie Shu.
Yeah. Go ahead and keep
Well,
talking though.
I think it's fine. I enjoyed the subway fight scene. I enjoyed some stuff with Wong.
She is.
But that's it. I just thought it was nice. It was a good origin story. I think the 10 rings are interesting. Not really sure what they're planning on doing with that though in the future.
Yeah. I'm excited for the future of this.
Yeah. And this kind of goes back to the villain just kind of being the good guy, but with different morals.
Well, the villain is like the dad. So there's like an interesting dynamic there.
Right.
I would say I've only seen this once. I want to say it's amazing, but I've only seen it once, so I don't know if that's true.
I'm
It
saying
d-
it's busting.
yeah, it definitely does not go below the bust factor. Eli, what are your thoughts and opinions and views?
I think this is a forerunner to have some of the best CGI in all of Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna straight up say it. Like the dragon, the water, the armor is being so subtle and but like good at the same time. It's just a whole new world, like literally a whole new world.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, something about it. I feel like it's either bussin' or amazing. I feel like the reason I like it so at the level I do is because of the minefield of garbage it was
Surrounded
made
by.
in.
Yeah.
If this was made 10 years ago, it would be bussin' or coolish. Since it's made now, I love this movie.
Yeah, I don't think it goes to coolish, but Bussin is very accurate. Another great CGI, with not very much
Yeah.
great else. Eternals.
Yeah. We have
Um,
a Chloe Zhao directorial debut for the MCU literally coming right off of her win from Nomadland.
Yeah.
She makes this, and it's interesting. I don't know why she signed up for it. Eternals,
I think it starts with M and ends with Ani. I think it's money is why she did this.
maybe. It has several great actors. Like Brian Tyree Henry is like really good, and he's in this movie. We have, I'm gonna botch his name, but it's Kumali.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah. And we got two more Game of Thrones characters in this with
Nice.
Jon Snow and Icarus.
Yeah.
I forgot their names for
I
some
don't know
reason.
Icarus's name.
Icarus's name and Parks and Rec and got Game of Thrones is Rob Stark. But anyways, no one cares. Yeah. That's pretty much it though. Barry Keoghan is in this too. And he's probably my favorite Eternal.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's not much to talk about this. I think this is coolish.
I want to watch it again. It's so
But
long. It is so
it
long,
is.
so unnecessarily long. The CGI is cool. We get an origin story for the universe, which is nice lore. But as a movie, it's just kind of like
It does set up the Black Knight or whatever it is, Kit Harington's character with the sword.
Technically, this is Blade's first appearance because that's his voice at the end.
And what's his
is?
name? Thanos is it like?
Oh yeah,
Star Fox, Harry Styles.
Harry
Yeah.
Styles is in this movie too. I forgot about this.
I just, you know what? This movie is so weird. I'd like defend this movie. I've defended this movie ever since it came out because people think it's literally bottom of the barrel dog water. I think it's a really cool movie. Here's my problem with it. If you showed me this movie and didn't tell me it was made by Marvel, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it has some of the worst character designs, and it has probably one of the worst villains, I would say.
Yeah,
I don't know or care who the villain is. and the designs are not inspiring or like interesting.
Yeah. And like the line that they do to make sure you know it's in the MCU is that they say, "Where were you guys during Thanos?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "We weren't told to do anything with that."
Yeah, like if
Yeah.
this, I feel like this is, if it was at all connected to Marvel in a very good way, it would either be amazing or bussin'. But I think this goes to coolish because it's just so distinct in a bad way.
Yeah. Which unfortunately means coolish has overrun marvelous. But I don't think this is marvelous, but we get another good installment now. Hawkeye,
Yeah.
one of the better Disney Plus shows, and the return of Netflix character Kingpin, bringing him full circle, the first Marvel television character, well, the second Marvel television character to be in a Marvel Studios project, but the first of the Netflix characters to show up. And I love this show.
Absolutely.
I love Kate Bishop. I can't wait to see her in the future if she shows up. I think Hawkeye is great in this.
Clint is incredible. Yelena's even good. Like Yelena's better in this, I think, than she
Yelena
is
is really
in
great in this.
Black Widow.
Rogers the musical.
Rogers the musical is amazing. And you have I'm forgetting his name. He's from Better Call Saul.
Swordmaster or whatever. I don't know what his character is in Better Call Saul, but that's what he is in this.
Yeah. No, he is. Oh, I follow him on Instagram. Go ahead, continue talking.
This could be a marvelous, maybe. Maybe.
No, I'm not
I
gonna
guess
let you
not. Okay.
There's no chance. Bussin' or amazing because it has cool characters. As a show, I was bored.
Okay.
Tony Dalton is his name. He's the actor. He
I
plays
think-
Lalo Salamanca. But no, he's fine in it. I enjoy everything about this. It's so grounded and it's just fun. Like, yeah, you have the introduction of Echo that's going to be in the MCU too, and I think she's great as well.
Yeah. Do we want to put this in amazing?
I would, yeah, let's put it in amazing.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm not a huge fan of the show. I don't like it.
Well, we are the host of the podcast, so
Yeah. Also, I live in your house, so
No, I'm not telling you to move it. I'm just saying, Cameron,
that's fair.
try to remove yourself from.
Kingpin is not
You're-
swaying my opinion. I thought this about the show. Kingpin's in like the last 2 episodes. I already loved the show before then.
Okay, well, you just answered my question before I even asked it. So
Yeah, I speak Eli. And I already knew that was what you were gonna think, and probably the audience. They know me so well. But I think our second to last marvelous is here with no Spider-Man No Way Home.
I don't have this in Marvelous.
Yikes, but I do, and it's not moving, which is crazy.
It's
This
a
was
very hot
crazy.
take. And I get kind of frustrated with the plot holes that is the multiverse or whatever. The like combination of universes. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of fun with this movie. I saw it, I think, twice or 3 times in theaters, and it was a great time. But each time, every single time I'm watching it, I'm thinking, like, why is Electro there? You know, why is like Sandman there, and why is he not talking at all?
That's crazy that you think that. I saw this like 6 times in theaters. I'm not even exaggerating with that. This is absolutely amazing. I love it. I think they do all the characters involved justice. I think this makes the Amazing Spider-Man Andrew Garfield character good after Amazing Spider-Man 2 ruined him. I think that seeing these characters together, hearing them interact, just simply conversations make this movie one of the best. And I wouldn't change anything about it. All that with the cherry on top, that is 5 seconds to Daredevil.
And he is great in it. It's just, I don't know, pacing's kind of an issue for me too. It's like a bit
what I
want
to ask you is,
Doctor Strange's character is
those things are understandable,
good.
but what about the action? The action's fantastic. Green Goblin's fantastic. This is Tom Holland's best performance.
Octodad or whatever his name is.
I don't think this is.
Well, Eli, what do you think?
I believe this goes in Marvelous, but there's one thing I tried bringing it up with what's it called, Far From Home, and it was wrong movie, right? This is a huge problem for me from a story point of view, or not a story point of view, from a character point of view. Doctor Strange, he did something. The thing that was the plot device for almost this entire movie is extremely out of character for him.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's such an out of character choice, and it's out of character for Wong too. Because like it's just like I don't know why Doctor Strange did it. He's never done anything like that, especially seeing how picky he was during Endgame and Infinity War of like being careful what he does with the time stone and everything to just let this kid change. Like that is nuts. That is nuts.
Now, I will say there is a point to be made that this is in character for him, because if you remember in the first Doctor Strange, his thing that was different from other sorcerers and what made him special was he wasn't scared of breaking the rules, but there was always such a literal cosmically significant reason for it.
Mhm.
Like we're gonna break the rules of nature because our enemies will, and we gotta defend the world.
Right.
But this is like, my name got let out and I'm not going to get into college. And you're like, okay, reverso verso. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, you're so right. And then like, yeah, it's crazy.
And that I understand that. I agree with that. But everything that comes after that is so good that I can't change my opinion.
Well,
that's literally the whole movie, Cameron. That spell that he did is the plot device for everything.
Okay, Eli, if you say this doesn't deserve Marvelous, that will make it 2 against 1, and I'll move it. But I think that it is too good, and that plot hole is too small to change that for me.
I think that it's marvelous because it's how incredibly enjoyable it is. But if you're looking at it from a character and story point of view, character and story is amazing, but everything else leads to marvelous. So I'm gonna have to say marvelous.
Okay,
right.
But hey, we don't have to worry about more Marvelous stuff because up next is Moon Knight.
This is fart, and I won't take anything above that.
I agree.
Unfortunately, it is. I don't hate it, but it's so boring.
No, I do hate it
Episode
because
1 is the early episodes are good, but it just
I wouldn't even say that. I would not even say that. It's like I was so excited. I think it was my excitement for the show that made me like the first episode, and it just doesn't work for me.
Wait, what am I talking about? This has to be Marvelous. I bought Moon Knight in Fortnite. So no, I'm just kidding. You go ahead.
That was a really good joke.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
But no, Moon Knight again. I saw him from the Marvel, or not the Marvel, Spider-Man show on Disney XD. He's just really good, and I like Oscar Isaac. I like the idea of having a character with like mental issues, and just like not even mental issues. I guess he's just like supernaturally messed up, where he just literally has these like insane schizophrenia. And that's not it. It's what is it? It's anti-personality. Yeah, multiple personality disorder.
Yeah.
But like
I'll put the name
I think
on
Oscar
screen.
Isaac isn't that great though in this. That saying, he has a pretty bad British accent. They probably should have got James McAvoy since he did Split. But no, I think like I watched 1 or 2 episodes and was having a very hard time to continue watching. It was just so boring.
Yeah, it's really, really disappointing. I will say though, the character designs are pretty great. I love Khonshu. I love all the Egyptian gods. I love Moon Knight. Every version of Moon Knight looks cool. So visually speaking, it's nice. Everything else speaking, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Ben said, I totally agree. I think especially the Egyptian gods, that's so cool. Like that's honestly like that still sticks with me sometime when I'm just thinking about other fantasy stuff in general. Ben mentioned that it was so boring that it was hard for him to keep watching. It was so hard for me to keep watching that I didn't finish the show. I didn't even get halfway through, and I'm like,
I didn't finish it either.
I'm wasting my time.
I did finish it, so I'm the better fan. Also, this is
no, I'm trying
with
to think.
this Black Panther, and I'm sure other things. There are like 4 or 5. Oh, and Thor, Love and Thunder, and probably others. There are like 4 or 5 canonical afterlives right now. So I think the way death works in the Marvel universe is kind of all over the place, but I think that's also kind of fun in a way. I don't know. What were you gonna say, Ben?
I think I did finish it. I just like remember not enjoying. Like I think this was something I was starting to put on and do other things,
Yeah.
so that way it would just like finish. Because I remember him getting in the car and like shooting a guy
Yeah,
or
that's the final
whatever.
scene.
Um, and he's like, "Oi, it's me, other Oscar." Yeah, I don't know.
There was
Yeah.
that one song though that I still listen to every day I wake up and I start to break up. That's banger.
Up
Yeah.
next is, I think this is the
Two
biggest difference in opinion between me and Ben. It is
two farts in a row.
Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I do not think this is a fart. I actually think this might even be bussin'. I would like to hear Eli's opinion, since
I
me and Ben.
really like this movie. Like, I thought the CGI was so cool. I really like Scarlet. I love the first Doctor Strange, so this movie had so much expectation for me. It met those expectations. I think Scarlet Witch is the perfect villain for Doctor Strange because witch. Yeah, everything is so cool about this movie. I think this is the main problem with this movie that takes it away from like amazing or bussin' status for me, is they're opening a very dangerous door, literally speaking. The way they handled multiverse stuff in this movie is very
Bad. I think
it's
the word
very
It's madness.
it's a multiverse of madness. It's not good. It's dangerous for the future of all of Marvel. It's gross. I feel like that's kind of gross. So, and that really, there was a thing that in Far From Home or No Way Home or whatever, that little plot hole that it was, but the rest of the movie was still cool. This doesn't do this for me. This is bad enough. The multiverse thing is bad enough to where it has to be like a bussin' or a coolish.
Yeah, I think I would love to put this in bussin', but since Ben hates it so much, we have to put it in coolish. I think the story is not as good as it could be, but I think the action is amazing, and like there's some creative use of the different kinds of powers on display. I love the alternate universe fight scene with Black Bolt and John Krasinski and all them, and I think that was really well done, even if there are some complaints you could have there, like Captain Marvel getting killed by a statue. But visually speaking, it's pretty cool. I think it's very creative with the use of the powers, and Sam Raimi's voice shines through with the editing, I would
You
say.
said Captain Marvel getting
Yeah.
America Chavez?
No, Captain Marvel of the alternate universe, played by
Oh,
Monica Rambeau, or
yeah.
Monica Rambeau's mother or something. I don't know. But
This movie.
yeah, Ben hates it though. So talk about it.
It's just not good. It's like bad CGI. That's really bad. And it's all over the place. And I know it's supposed to be a multiverse of madness. Where do I even start? Like, Sam Raimi has his style, but every shot is like, hey guys, this is a Sam Raimi movie. Look at this eyeball shot that we're doing for the millionth time. Or the dialogue. We gotta save America's power. Keep America alive, guys. And it's just like, oh my gosh, stop. I think they just completely underutilized anything that Doctor Strange set up in the first movie as far as like his possible love interest or whatever. I know she had like a wedding, but I was expecting more of that, like more of, him actually talking to people instead of him just like using magic. And then it's like, oh, 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 oh. Speaking of like Doctor Strange making bad decisions, why does he not kill Wanda? Like,
He does.
No, he doesn't kill
He
Wanda.
tries. I mean, I'm sure she'll come back, but as far as he knows, she's dead at the end.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But also, why does it take Scarlet Witch so long to kill America? Why does it, like, she literally had no issue wiping through so many people to get to America's power, and when she's finally going to be
She
able
wasn't
to take
trying to
America's
kill her.
power,
She was trying to take the power, and she can't do
take
that
the
if she's
power.
dead.
Either way, it's so like,
Ben didn't
it's
watch
so
the movie.
bad.
That's why he doesn't like it.
No,
Think about this. She literally destroyed an entire sanctum without breaking a sweat, but she can't grab some teenage girl.
No, but first of all, that
Exactly.
teenage
No.
girl goes through the multiverse. Second of all, she's not trying to kill her. She's
You know
trying
who
to
else
harvest.
can go through the multiverse?
Wanda.
Eli, she's not trying to kill. She had to get the Darkhold to go through the multiverse. First of all, she's not
But
trying.
she still was better at it. No,
She
stop.
had the
you,
Darkhold.
you talked
She
my
had the
talk.
Darkhold.
You talked my talk. So, okay. And the multiverse of madness, they go to one freaking place. Okay, they go to one place, and that's with John Krasinski. And they're like, "Hey guys, are you ready for this room of like fan castings and whatnot?" John Krasinski. Oh, you guys like him? John Krasinski, give us your best 5 out of 10 acting ever. He's like, Wanda. I'm here. I'm John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. He's like, Black Bolt can kill you with his secret superpower you don't know about. And then she just destroys Black Bolt. And why are they all just staring at Wanda doing monologues when Wanda could easily kill them all? And she does. Wanda's the smartest person in the movie at this moment. And Doctor Strange's like, guys, listen, Wanda does not know we're here yet, even though she has the most magical thing in the entire universe. But we should stop by at this cool place that this guy from the Ash Dead movies is selling pizza balls. Also, we should stop at this thing that shows you your whole history, and it's outside. So let's take our 30-minute break here because I'm sure Wanda doesn't know we're here. No, this is bad writing to its finest, and I think this is like the most downhill Marvel's been going. And I'm like, oh, buckle up, get ready for your favorite characters to get ruined.
This is such a specific complaint. It's what Ben like said. It's the Black Bolt thing where she covered his mouth. He literally has a huge part of his character is his vow of silence because it can just murder armies of people with a whisper. So why the one time that danger would be inflicted on himself, he goes, "Uh-oh."
No. He's about to use it against her, and she blocks his mouth.
No,
Yes.
because it pans out while he's there, and he goes, "Oh
no.
Look it up, Cameron. You are so wrong here.
No, listen, he's about to use it against her. That's why Reed Richards is doing his things like, you can't defeat us because we have the Black Bolt. And then he's like, and then he doesn't go.
He says this. He says this. He goes, he can destroy you by just opening his mouth. And she goes, what mouth? And then it pans open.
Yeah,
he's like,
he's about to destroy her. He's about to destroy her. And then he's.
You don't think he didn't feel his mouth not opening?
How do you know what it feels like, Ben? We're keeping it cool.
I would have figured though that you would know.
Unless Eli's opinion.
Cameron, if that is the intention for that scene, that's bad cinematography.
Okay,
Cameron, with you eating all the time, I feel like you would know if your mouth is open or closed.
Listen, Eli, if your opinion got changed, I'm moving out of Coolish. Otherwise, we outnumber him.
I think it still belongs in Coolish.
Okay.
Well, I rest my case.
Let's move on to Miss Marvel. Ben, did you watch this?
I did. I really enjoy this.
I really enjoy this a lot as well. Eli did not watch it, which I'm trying to convince him to this day to watch. I think it drags a little bit too much in the middle to go to Marvelous, but the beginning and ending is really cool.
I love the beginning so much.
Yes.
Like, so good.
I don't care that they changed her power. I didn't know about the character beforehand. Fans of the show, I'm sorry they changed her power. It didn't bother my experience. I really like this. I'm excited for the Marvels. Before the trailer came out, I was only excited to see Kamala Khan. I love this character now because of the show. Ben, where would you put it?
It is pretty amazing, in my opinion. I really enjoy it. I think my mom really likes it too.
Yeah, and just look at the poster. Looks like a cool poster. Okay.
I didn't watch it because I have a grudge against New Marvel.
Yeah. Except you did watch this. Thor Love and Thunder. Look at that.
There's nothing to say about this.
The Thor franchise has a 75% fart rating. So yeah. Dude,
all right, they looked up a YouTube tutorial on how to ruin Thor's character, and they followed it to a T.
On average, the Thor franchise is coolish. Just thought I'd let you guys know, mathematically speaking.
It is bad, and they had so much going for it. They had Taika Waititi, which I guess he didn't care. They had the alley-oop, which was Thor Ragnarok, making him cool. They had the Guardians, which James Gunn said he's glad they didn't use them, and I'm glad too, because Guardians 3 was really good. They had Christian Bale as an interesting villain.
Gore, is that enough to make it coolish?
No, it is so terrible. This movie is so terrible.
Next, I'm done. I hate this movie.
Eli, final words about this?
I think it deserves fart. I just think Gore is a wonderful villain.
Gore's
I think
cool,
Gore
underutilized.
smells like a fart.
Christian Bale is spectacular.
Next.
I Am Groot.
That's it.
Did either of
Such
you
a
watch
letdown.
this?
It's like coolish, I
Is
guess.
that a
This-
show?
It's 5 short things. I don't know how you could be let down by it. It was like 20 minutes long total.
Still
I don't-
coolish.
I don't remember it.
You
It's
didn't watch
fart.
it probably. It's coolish. Because the last episode's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like heartwarming.
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
Yes. Okay. This is gonna be the hardest one because
I think
Eli
all of
doesn't
us have
like
drastically different opinions.
it. Yeah. I would say it's busting.
Really?
Woo! Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, Eli
Daredevil,
didn't even
though.
finish it. He started it. He didn't finish it. I brought him back for the Daredevil episode. Eli, why don't you say your things? Why don't you have your Ben speech?
Okay, I'm not as articulate and as quick-witted as Ben, but I hate this show. This is just okay. The fight scenes are boring. What is the freaking random thugs with the magic items for? That's just why. That's like random side quests from freaking Skyrim. That doesn't need to be in the She-Hulk show. Okay,
I would say
They totally wasted her character. What's the whole twerking post-credit scene? They don't. This is that's so corny. I don't.
Eli.
Post-credit scene. It doesn't matter.
Hey, he gets
Eli,
to talk. He gets to talk.
with all of the downs that the show has, it does have really good ups.
Yes.
And that's why I put it on busting, because it's like the middle of the road. Like, it has the twerking scene, which is awful, but you have the Daredevil scene too, which is like incredible. But
They
Daredevil
made Daredevil-
episode. No,
They
do
made
not ruin
Daredevil do the walk of shame. Look how Daredevil
That's
looked
not
there.
wrong.
Okay.
No, that doesn't matter, bro. Look at the entire
And
Daredevil episode. It is
the last
fantastic.
episode too is
Not only
also
is it
really good.
fantastic in its own, it is so respectful to the Daredevil TV show. It has the hallway fight scene. Yeah, they
Yeah.
cut it short as a joke, but that's fine. It has the amazing costume. It has
Yeah.
all, like, Daredevil is used so well in this. They put Daredevil in the same room as the Hulk, finally getting to see the Avenger, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And the last episode, I think, is honestly really good too.
it is really good. I know a lot of people have mixed opinions about it. I love the final episode. This show, my only problem with it is episode 1. Okay.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
from that moment on, it's actually fine,
Oh.
and I have no problem with the twerking scene.
Make it coolish.
Cameron, we're in charge of the podcast. We can do whatever we want.
Werewolf by Night.
It's amazing.
I think it's amazing.
I think it is also amazing. It is so unique. It is
Mhm.
so unique to this universe. There's nothing really like it. Marvel, they were okay with anything. They were gonna let it be TV mature. It just didn't have to be because the black and white. It was awesome. I love Man-Thing in it. I love all
Michael
the different hunters.
Giacchino's directorial debut for the MCU, and
Yes.
it's spot on.
I would
Perfect.
also
Good job.
recommend the Director by Night documentary that is about this. It is not like the other assembled documentaries. It is more personal and about his entertainment industry career, less about the thing itself.
I think this movie does something that happened that was a problem for Eternals, but it's not a problem for this. That it doesn't feel like it's a part of Marvel. I think that does very well for this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to see where these characters show up again.
right.
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
I think this is amazing too. I
Amazing,
really
yeah.
enjoyed this.
Yeah, I think this was the first thing. Well, you say that and you remember Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's such an anomaly. This was the first thing without crazy cameos that felt like a pre-Endgame movie.
I love
Uh,
Namor. Namor was awesome.
Namor is really good in this. I
Namor's
think,
great.
man, I'm messing up. Angela Bassett is really good in this. And she did get nominated. And she probably should have won over Jamie Lee Curtis.
I feel like any of them could have won over
but
Jamie
we
Lee
don't
Curtis.
talk about that. But yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, this movie seems like it should have been impossible to be good. With you put together Chadwick Boseman's death, you put together post Endgame Marvel, the COVID-19 stuff going on, and all the behind the scenes hubbubaloo, and then you still get a fantastic movie out of it. Amazing, you could say. Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
It is marvelous, and I think after watching Guardians 3 really helps me
Really?
put it in marvelous. Yeah, I love it so much. It's so sweet. The stakes are super low, and it's just a good family show / movie. It's
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. It's
Kevin
just so much
Bacon.
fun, and it's just so much characters that you it's just so much you can connect to and just enjoy.
I understand that, and I feel that, and I agree with that. It has a great song.
It does.
It has a great song, and you can never have too much Mantis. We'll probably never see her again, but this was great. I'm glad she was chosen to be a main character for this. Eli.
I mean, there's not much to say about it. I agree with you guys. I think it either belongs. I don't think it belongs in Marvelous. I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's serious enough to belong in Marvelous. I think amazing.
I might agree with that. It's marvelous for what it is, but what it is doesn't deserve marvelous, I think.
Man.
Perfect way to put it.
Although I was gonna put Werewolf by Knife in marvelous. So
if you put Werewolf up there, I'll put Guardians up there.
No, I'm not gonna move this though because you guys both said amazing.
No, I'll put it in. I think it's marvelous.
On to the next one.
Okay.
Quantumania. Yeah,
Yo,
I hate
such a fart.
What
dude.
a yucky doo-doo fart. What a yucky doo-doo fart.
I hate it so much.
A lot like Ant-Man and Ant-Man's franchise. It just sucks. It's
yeah.
They're trying so hard to set up Kang as the next Thanos, and the first movie he features in as the villain that is actually going to be fighting, having him damaged by Ant-Man,
to having him lose to Ant-Man.
I don't
not just
crazy.
Ant-Man, just
Cassie.
ants in general.
And Cassie and his daughter. It's just
I am interested to see the future of these characters. Also, the complaint I had with Quantumania tripled down here. Wasp still does not have a character. Everything that has happened to her that is important has happened off screen.
And we did talk about this during our
review of
Quantumania episode. So if you're wanting to hear more about what we thought about it, you can check that out.
And if you're wanting to know what we thought about Triangle of Sadness, you can also check that episode.
They really wasted potential with MODOK. They made him a joke.
They made him a joke. MODOK is awesome. I don't think it's as bad as people say. My biggest complaint with MODOK, really speaking, is the top of the head being bald and visible. I thought that was kind of doo-doo fart face dumb.
No, the character design for MODOK was awesome.
The character design was great 90% of the way, and then you get to the top and they have the exposed bald head. MODOK generally has hair. If they wanted him to be bald, that's fine. Just cover it up. It looks kind of
Imagine if they make that version of MODOK, visually, a scary villain rival character. That would be awesome.
All right, and next we got Guardians 3.
The final movie, Guardians 3. We just did a whole episode about this. You know what me and Ben think about it. We like it a lot. So Eli, take it away.
I think it fits in Marvelous easily.
Yeah, what a great way to round it out. So this is our list. I want you to write down in the comments below, rank every single thing we have on here numerically. Go ahead and put it down in the comments. You guys feel good about this list?
No, let's redo it.
Okay.
I just say start from the beginning.
All right. Let's do it in reverse chronological order.
Anyways,
what would you guys say is the best of the Marvelous category and the worst of the fart category?
Oh, best in the Marvelous category. Show or movie?
If you want to separate them, that's fine.
Show is, it's Daredevil.
Daredevil and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah.
And then movie, I'm saying it's probably gonna be Winter Soldier or Guardians 2. That's kind of
wow.
Yeah.
I would say I could never choose between Daredevil and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But of the movies, Avengers Infinity War is unbeatable for me. It did the impossible, and I still think it's impossible, even though it's already been done. Eli, what are you thinking?
Infinity War and S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Just easy. It's no debate.
And then the worst farts, Inhumans of everything.
I think for me, I hate
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Moon Knight, probably the most out of everything on the fart category.
Yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder gives Inhumans a run for its money. It really does. But
Inhumans and Ant-Man and the Wasp probably for me.
yeah. So yeah, this has been What Did You Think's Marvel tier list.
Is this the longest episode on the podcast?
It definitely will be. It definitely will be. I mean, we won't know until it's done being edited. And because of when we're recording this, I'm going to have to edit it right now, which means I will have to rehear this entire conversation. But
my lighting has changed multiple times throughout this recording.
yeah.
No, what do you think is the
days.
best in the busting category?
Oh yes, the most like wait no. What do you think is the most mid?
The
of
biggest
the
bust?
No, what's
the biggest
most
bust?
the middle of the bust, which means the most
Ooh.
middle of the road thing in all of the
So
MCU.
the bustiest bust?
I think Jessica Jones.
Yeah, most middle of the road for me, I would say is I can't believe we have Jessica Jones on one. That's how bad season 2 is, dude.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I really enjoy doing this list. We won't do another list like this for a long time because it's going to be mostly the same. And I don't know when our next tier list would be. Remember to like, if we get those 5 likes, we're going to get that MCU canon PowerPoint by yours truly, which I'm so excited
I'm actually
to
excited
do.
for that.
I've wanted to do that for so long. I've never had a legitimate reason to spend the time to do it. So I would actually be glad for that to happen. Isaac, you're not allowed to like it in 5 separate accounts. This needs to be legitimate.
Gotcha. Well, Eli, thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining us on this episode. Is there anything you're wanting to plug right now?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Is there any movie that you're in that's gonna be
No.
made soon?
No.
No? Okay.
Not
All
any
right.
movie of substance or validity.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Good.
Go ahead
well-
and sign us out with a Marvel related outro.
I could do this all day, but unfortunately. I was snapping.